Welcome to another episode of Timmy Talks, the channel where we talk old school magic. And today we've got some live action for you, the 7-point Singleton finals of the 15th month, or edition I guess I should say, between mono white and a blue, white, a little bit of black, a little bit of green control deck. And with me today for the commentary is Luis. Luis, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Timmy, to invite me to comment this 7 points final. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think you are our specialist, right? Because 7-point Singleton is quite popular in Spain.
Yes, I'm the organizer of Liga Madrileña of All School, of regular All School in Madrid. And we started to play 7-point Singletons since 6 months ago, more or less. And in Madrid, and I think in Spain, we are crazy about this format. Probably is our favorite all school format because it's very balanced. No, the format is very balanced. The games are long, and we are happy for this. No.
I see, by the way, that we have somebody who joined the chat. Yannick was in the semifinals yesterday. So Yannick, can I maybe ask you to leave the whereby for the simple reason that then I have an extra camera to stream. So it's kind of difficult for my my laptop. It's not that great. So I see if I can send him a message. And if we're looking at the decks, Luis, can you tell us something about the decks these players are playing?
Yes, I think Marc's deck is the typical 7 points blue-white control, no, with Abyss in this situation. No mode, I think, because mode is 2 points, and the Abyss is now 1 point only. And this kind of deck abuse every time of card advantage. No, a lot of cards that has card advantage. School of Horn, Disrupting Scepter. I think the only card I don't see in this deck is Jalum Tome. I think Jalum Tome in control decks is not really good because it's a disadvantage of cards. No, but the rest I think is at least very fine. No,
yeah, the Jalum, yeah,
very close.
It can help you. It can help you find the card that you need, I guess, but it's not card advantage, definitely. So I see that Yannick, thank you for leaving. That's better. You can follow us live, of course, on the YouTube channel, Timmy Talks. If you're looking at these two decks, right, because obviously Marc wants to go for the long run, right, with more control deck. Carlos is going to want to finish the game as fast as he can with the mono white. I was a little bit surprised when I looked at the mono white that there are also some control cards in there.
Yes. I don't see really powerful this kind of mono white decks, but the result is this kind of decks won a lot of tournaments. No, I think the best point of these mono white decks is the little cost of the creatures and the possibility to increase the power of these creatures with
the anthem
other
effects.
cards. No?
Definitely.
Yes.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to tell them to start, or ask them to start. Let me send the signal.
Okay.
And then we can look at the action because it's a best of 5. So who is your favorite, Luis, of these two? Not as a player, but who do you think is going to win?
Carlos is my friend, but
yeah, but you think Marc has the advantage?
Yeah, I hear another mic. Okay. Excuse me, Timmy. I have to silence the mix of the players. I was talking that Carlos is my friend, but I see the Marc's deck more powerful.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think it. I was talking about this yesterday, or was it 2 days ago? We did the semifinals, and we were like, well, the white deck really needs to get ahead in the first couple of turns. So I guess we can see it at the first 2, 3, 4, 5 turns.
Yes, probably the first turns will be really important. And I think the best control card in Carlos' deck is Disenchant. Disenchant is really the MVP against the Marc deck, no?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, it can take care of the Steel Artifact, the Control Magic, but also the Abyss you mentioned.
Yes, and the Abyss.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, the Abyss, Animate. Yeah, he's got so many enchantments, by the way. Wow. You almost wish that Carlos could have like a white Tranquility.
Pardon?
You would almost wish for Carlos that he had like a white Tranquility.
Yes. I think if Marc could cast the Abyss, will be really difficult to Carlos.
Yeah, that would be hard.
Yes. He has White Knight, but the Abyss is really the MVP card of Marc's deck, I think.
Because if we're looking at Marc's deck, he's playing. Oh, he's not playing creatureless. He is playing with Triskelion and Tetravus. Those are, I believe, his only creatures.
Yes, but he can recover these creatures of the graveyard with reconstruction, no? And I think and with regrowth.
Yeah, he's playing regrowth and animate that, so he can. Oh, and reconstruction. So he's got quite a lot of ways of getting those creatures back.
Yes, reconstruction I think is a very good idea in Marc's deck, and I'm curious to see how Ring of Renewal could work. No, I'm really curious.
I'm a big fan of Ring of Renewal because when your hand is empty, you draw 2 cards. That's the cool thing of the ring. But Marc is playing a slow control deck, so will his hand really be empty?
Mm-hmm.
Starting, he's on the play by the way, which is good for Marc, I guess. Starting with the Temple.
Okay, Savannah Lions, the best, the best start possible to Carlos.
Wow, yeah, this is what he wants to do, right? Maybe Lantex would have been an even better start.
yeah, or both.
Yeah, both. And now there's a factory. I'm expecting Carlos to just swing in here, right? To say to Marc if you want to trade, because he cannot pump the factory now.
Yes, I think Carlos has to attack this turn.
And there he goes.
Yes, attacking. Okay, 2 points.
Maybe White Knight, Pikeman.
Probably, or any creature. Any creature is okay. Okay.
Osai Vultures. How does that work? It has some kind of weird regeneration thing, right? That when a creature dies...
When a creature goes to the graveyard, you put a counter on this card. And when this card has 2 counters, you can remove both and give +1/+1 to the vultures.
And it's until end of turn or not, or is the counter?
I think when you want, can remove it's the end of turn, the counter, yes, and the end of the turn.
Oh, and we're losing Carlos here, so hopefully he can get back. But that is actually it can be a relevant boost if you play an aggressive deck like Carlos, right? The +1/+1 can be decisive.
Yes, and the best thing of the vultures is they can fly, and fly creatures in 7 points are always dangerous.
Yeah, because you can see he's playing with pretty much every small flyer, right? Thunder Spirit, but also the Mesa Pegasus. And there's, of course, in white, there's not a 1-drop. 1/1 flyer. Yes. There's not a Script Sprites or a Flyman. And it looks like Carlos is back. That's good news.
Yes. I think Carlos don't play the Mesa Pegasus, no? I think he don't play Mesa Pegasus.
Oh, I know he's playing one, and it's signed even.
Uh-huh.
I believe he is, actually. But he's playing a Mesa Pegasus. Because I've got the deck list in front of me. What I also like about...
yes. I'm seeing now the Mesa Pegasus.
What I also like about this deck is the rocket launcher.
I think it's a recommendation for me to Carlos that plays rocket launcher, because this deck don't have removal, only Swords to Plowshares and probably a Spirit Link. Yeah. But rocket launchers let you kill, for example, a preacher, opponent's preacher. That it's a extremely big problem to this deck.
Yeah, and it can also kill multiple smaller creatures, or of course finish your opponent off. It's a direct damage option. And here we see Marc playing a Savannah. Ooh, he's passing turn, not doing anything yet. He has counter magic, Marc in hand. He's playing with Spell Blast, with Power Sync, and Counterspell. And Mana Drain.
I don't know if it's a problem to Marc now. Don't have the double blue mana, no? I don't know. He has the Shulenite Temple, but he has to sacrifice to give him 2 blue mana.
Ooh, would you counter this? I think if you have a Power Sync, you would, but Power Sync or Spell Blast. I think he's thinking about it, and I mean, sacking the Temple, I don't know if I would do that, because that will set you back. And his deck really wants to have like 4 or 5 mana.
I don't know if Carlos have to attack now with the Savannah Lion and kill the Mishra's Factory with Ilori Pile.
Yeah,
I think he's thinking that.
Okay, so you think Carlos is thinking at the moment instead of Marc. Mm-hmm. So Marc is basically saying it's okay. Okay, there we see if he's going to attack.
Yes.
Looks like he is. Both. Now this is going to be interesting, right? Marc is going to activate. Marc can pump his own factory to a 3/3 because it no longer has Summoning Sickness. And then he can kill the lines, but he also knows that Carlos can sack his Hail Pile. It looks like he's just taking the damage. Would you have done this as well, Luis, or would you try to block the lines?
I don't know. I think Marc is playing good because if he lost his Mishra's Factory now, would be a problem at late game. No, destroy the lands of Marc. It's always a good option. And I think Marc is playing good. Activate the Mishra.
For Marc, losing a land here almost feels like a time walk for Carlos. So he'd rather take the damage. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
And here the Chaos Orb.
Interesting.
That's what I find so difficult playing against decks like Carlos's deck. All those small creatures, do you really want to use a Chaos Orb on a creature? Then again, if you don't, you keep taking damage.
Yes, but if Marc don't activate the Chaos Orb now, probably next turn Carlos has Divine Offering or Disenchant to destroy the...
Yeah, because white is really good in dealing with artifacts.
Yes. But Marc prefer wait and keep his Chaos Orb.
A true control player. He waits till the very last end.
Mm-hmm. I think Carlos has to continue attacking. He can't do anything better.
That's his plan, right? Attack. So go in there.
Yeah.
Let's see how Marc is going to respond. So I'm not expecting him to block then now the lines with the factory.
No, I don't think Marc wants to block with his Mishra Factory.
He's going to 12.
Mm-hmm.
And now Carlos is in the second main, probably thinking, what do I want to do?
Now, I think Carlos is thinking about Wrath of God, no? If he drop more creatures, probably the Wrath of God will be more dangerous.
Yeah. So maybe he's thinking, you know what, I'm winning as is, so I'm going to leave the current board state and kind of force Marc's hand. That could be a strategy. Mm-hmm. I mean, if he has an Armageddon here, you know.
Yes. Probably Carlos, the best card he wants now is Armageddon. No?
Exactly, and then he's kind of saying, okay, Marc, if you've got a counterspell, you got it. If you don't have it, I'll probably have the game.
Yes. And I think Marc probably keep the counter spell to Armageddon always.
That's why I like the temple, the Fallen Empire temple, because you can always counter. I mean, okay, it's a tough cost because you got a sec, but still. Mm-hmm. Okay, there's another creature.
Tundra Wolves.
The interesting thing about Tundra Wolves is it has first strike. So a scenario that could happen is Carlos attacking with the Tundra Wolves, Marc blocking with the Mishra's Factory, and then Carlos deals 2 extra damage with the AO pile, killing the factory.
Yes.
I'm expecting Marc to know this, but it's a pretty cool thing, right? Because of that first strike that you have that option.
Yes. Okay.
Wrath of God, you called it.
I told you.
Oh, nice, Luis. And now, oh man.
And now, Carlos, the only possibility is continue drawing creature.
Or maybe Carlos played out one of his lesser creatures and is now coming with a very good one.
About the first strike, I want to say that in 7 points, you really realized the abilities are so more powerful than in regular old school, no? Abilities like first strike, banding, something like that in 7 points are really stronger than regular old school.
Is that because you have more combat action, more creature-based decks?
Yes, more creatures, more combat action, and you can play a playset of every card, no? If you can play a playset of Serendipity, pues.
And he's going to flip you on the Thunder Spirit, by the way.
Okay.
And I guess that's a pretty good decision, right? Because Thunder Spirit, 2 in the air, first strike again, so it's a stronger creature in Carlos's deck, I guess.
Yes, but this action, I think, is because Marc probably don't have any other removal in his hand, no?
It is a bit interesting though that he chose to do it, because here we see the Icy. He could have chosen to say, I'm going to keep my Chaos Orb on the board and deal with the Icy with the Thunder Spirit. Then again, the longer you wait, the more chances you have of Carlos drawing into something to deal with the Chaos Orb, of course.
Yeah, I think probably he drew the Icy Manipulator from the top, no? Because
because he did it on end step, the orb, and then he drew into it. Yeah, possible.
Yes.
Ooh, this is one of my favorite cards, and with that AO pile, it can be really cool. So this is Argivian Archaeologist, right? 2 white and tap to get an artifact back from the graveyard. AO pile, you can sack and deal 2 damage, then get it back with the Archaeologist.
It's one of the most powerful staples in 7 points. Argivian Archaeologist.
It's so cool that it's so powerful in this format, because I actually play with it as well in certain decks in just regular old school formats, and it's really tough. It kind of eats removal, which is okay.
Yes,
but it's not as strong.
There are a lot of powerful 1/1 creatures in 7 points, but in regular old school, when people place 8 bolts each deck, it's very difficult to do good these creatures now.
Yeah, definitely. The only thing what I feel then when it eats a bolt or a chain, I'm like, okay, at least it's not to the face, and I have some more time to build up. And of course, I have that with Timmy as well. Timmy is another, I guess, a strong creature or stronger in Singleton. Protocol Sorcerer.
And Aladdin.
Yeah,
Aladdin, for example,
is
not really. Yes.
Aladdin and Transmogrant. That's just kick ass.
Yes, and Witch Hunter.
Yeah, I see Witch Hunter in a lot of lists. I've noticed that as well. Yeah. Almost all the white lists are running one. Okay, Preacher you see more in regular old school as well.
Yes.
And there we see a Felwer Stone and
Skull of Orn.
But he doesn't have any enchantments in the bin, right? He cannot bring anything back. Skull of Orn used to be one of my favorite cards when I just started playing.
Mm-hmm.
And here he's going to do the trick, right? Deal 2 damage to Marc. Oh, Marc's in trouble.
Yes.
And now Carlos can get it back with the Archaeologist. So he's probably now going to tap the Archaeologist, right? I assume. To force Carlos to use his 2 white mana before draw.
Yes, probably.
I would still use the 2 white mana. It's guaranteed 2 damage. It's awesome. Unless you have, of course, a Sarah Angel in hand or something, unless you have a very strong option. Because look at Marc, he's tapped out. No counter options.
No. This turn is the best for an Armageddon for Carlos.
It's looking really good for Carlos now, I must say.
But be careful with Felwer Stone of Marc. Probably will be definitely in the match with Armageddon. Felwer Stone.
Yeah, because the stone's going to stay, you mean. But then again, the stone doesn't make any mana anymore when all the lands are gone. But you mean for Carlos not to play out the land instantly?
Yeah. I saw how to work Skull of Orn in another match with Sage of Nat Lamb and Steel Artifact. It's amazing because you steal opponent's artifact, sacrifice with Sage of Nat Lamb, draw a card, recover the Steel Artifact with the School of
really
War.
cool.
Amazing.
What I love about Sage of Latnam is that you can just use it in response. So if somebody wants to remove one of your artifacts, you say, okay, whatever, I'm just going to draw a card. And it's just card advantage.
Yeah.
I love that. And I guess it works really well with Steel Artifacts for that reason. Skull of Orm together, wow. But the problem, of course, with Skull is it's 5 and tap to get enchantment back. So you do need a lot of mana power if you want to do that efficiently. Whereas here we see the Archaeologist, it is 2 white, which is less, of course, especially in the mono deck of Carlos.
Yes, I think it's the only plan of Carlos now, the recurring Iololi pile.
But it's a good plan because Marc's on 10, so he's on a 5-turn clock. Carlos can do it in his end step. He's going to go to 8, can do it again.
Mm-hmm.
And even if Marc can counter it, he can only counter it for 1 turn because it goes back to the graveyard. So
he needs removal to Argivian Archaeologist.
Yes, yeah.
It's the only way.
He does play with Psyblast. Of course, he has the Abyss, the card that he's pretty scared for probably, but he doesn't have that much removal.
Yes, because Gaseous form is useless against the Argivian Archaeologists.
Yeah. And here is getting back the AO pile again. And here you kind of can see, and I'm not saying the flip was a bad decision because he didn't have the Icy yet, but he's probably wishing that he still had the orb.
I think he took this decision because probably he didn't have Icy Manipulator in hand this turn.
Yeah, he drew into it, but yeah, still you could argue. It's not a mistake from Marc, definitely not. But you could argue don't use the orb until you really have to.
Yes, because Icy Manipulator could stop the Thunder Spirit, no, and probably Marc now miss his Chaos Orb to Argivian Archaeologist.
Marc is going to come to a point as well where he's going to consider just attacking with Demisher's Factory for the simple reason, or I'm going to deal some damage to Carlos, which is not very relevant, or Carlos is going to use the AO pile on the factory, which is not even that bad because it's going to give Marc an extra turn. Yeah.
I think Marc can attack now with Mithra's Factory.
Right? Yeah, just to see whatever, Carlos. If you want to kill it with AO pile, fine, that saves me 2 life. If not, I'll deal 2 damage. And he's got enough lands.
Yes.
Ooh, but he has other plans.
Mana,
the Jende Tome, right? This one.
Jende Tome. Okay.
Yeah, it's not going to help him win the war. It's too slow.
Yes. Another card that it's really powerful in 7 points, but not so powerful that like in regular old school with all the Moxen and Soul Ring. And
I actually think that Jende Tome is, you mean the other way around, right? That Jende Tome is quite powerful in regular old school and less powerful in 7-point Singleton?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But it's another card that I think is in the point of view of give points, no? Because almost every deck plays Giant Tome, no? I play it even in aggro decks.
Yeah, because an extra card, man, that's value. And I guess you don't see Ancestral Recall as much because that eats away a lot of points. So people prefer Brain Geyser, but then you go pretty much on blue, right?
Yeah.
Getting back the AO pile again. This is going slow, but it's efficient, and Carlos is really slowly wrecking Marc here.
And I think Marc don't have counter spell.
Yeah, or else he would have played it, right? You want to postpone. So what is Marc hoping for here? What is he going to look for?
Probably the Abyss. But he don't have black mana, no?
I think you're right. He doesn't have black mana, so maybe he's got the Abyss and he's waiting for the black mana. And more problems here for Marc, Eric, because we see the Banalish Hero.
Or Marc.
Spellblast. Spellblast.
Okay, Spellblast. Or probably Regrowth to Wrath of God, no? Probably.
True. So he's got quite a lot of outs actually. Control Magic could do it for him as well, which is kind of weird, but still, it's actually not that bad because he's got 2 white, and I think he's got. Does he have an artifact in the bin? Anyway, he just wants to get the archaeologist away from Carlos. That's his main objective.
And he has Triskelion too, and Psionic Blast.
That's a good point. Triskelion is great against 1/1s. But I mean, he's digging with the tome, so I guess he hasn't found the answers yet. And here you're probably, these are these moments where you think, oh, I wish I would just play red, and I've got so much like damage.
Yes.
I know that myself because I love playing, mono blue, for example, and sometimes it's so difficult to get rid of something if you haven't been able to counter it. And you're like, oh, I wish I just played white or red, or
yes,
I could deal with this nonsense.
This turn could be definitely.
He's going to counter. He's going to counter. Oh, he's going to play Divine Offering on his own.
Oh, interesting.
And then he's going to gain 4 life.
Probably the Skull is the best option, no? The Skull of Orn.
Yes, but it's only 3 life, isn't it? Skull is 3 to cast. But it's definitely one that's... Yeah, you mean then he's going to go to 5 anyway, and he has an extra turn, because it's uneven, yeah.
Are the same turns, no? With 5 or 6.
That doesn't matter,
yes,
you're right.
Skull. Yeah. Yes. Because Icy Manipulator can use to another creature.
Oh, yeah. Occasion something. Also a creature with banding.
This is, I don't remember that.
Yeah, it's a 1/1, and for 1 you can give it first strike, or for 1 you can give it banding.
Yeah. No, it's Miracle Worker.
No, this is not the Miracle Worker, no.
No.
No, this is from Fallen Empires, this card.
Yes. This is the one of Fallen Empires, yes.
Yeah, I like Fallen Empires. I used to get Fallen Empires from everybody when I started playing, and I was 11. I had no money. Everybody gave me their Fallen Empire cards.
Yes, and the art of the cards in Fallen Empires is
beautiful,
amazing.
Right?
Yes. For me, the best arts with Arabian Nights in old school.
All the top artists in Magic have contributed to Fallen Empire. I mean, it's fantastic.
Yes.
But, this is not looking good. So Marc is now going to use his Icy to tap down our Fallen Empire friend. And he's going to get back the Aeopal. He's going to cast the Aeopal. And I wonder if Marc now has a counterspell or something to buy him some time.
I think Marc can turn the game.
You still think he can turn the game? He's on 3 though. He's extremely low. Here we see Aeopal. If he wants to turn it, he's got to start turning it now.
But Marc has a lot of cards in hand. Judging that Tome, I think is not really good for Carlos now.
Does Marc have a lot of life gain in his deck? It could be worth kind of thinking about life gain.
Yes, Ivory Tower, probably.
Yes, probably 1 tower. I believe you're right. So he's going to swing in, and then in response, or before combat, he's going to use his factory. Makes sense.
I think Carlos has to do anything. Because that means that he don't have answer to Argivian archaeologists, and he's trying to buy some turns with Mizra's factory.
Yeah, don't you think it would have been better for Marc to just step down the soldier? Because the next turn maybe, doesn't matter that, but it'd be more with factory, but I would have pressed with factory much earlier already, kind of forcing Carlos to use.
No, I think Carlos don't have to destroy the Mizra factory. I think he has to continue doing damage to Marc directly with Aerolify.
So you would just say, forget about the soldier. You make sense, because then he goes to... Oh, he's doing that. He's following your advice. So he's putting him on 1, and that makes sense, because then next turn, Carlos can get it back and can kill him. And here Marc is going to find another card. He is drawing a lot. And as you say, if he can take care of the archaeologist now, it's tapped. Right? He could come back.
I don't know what cards Marc has in his hand, but I I think Carlos not win the game yet. Really don't win the game yet.
We've seen players winning who were on 1 before. But it would be a hell of a comeback. But Carlos doesn't have any real threats on the board, does he? Except for the archaeologist. So if the archaeologist is taken care of, it's looking pretty okay for Marc, except for his life.
Yes.
Because one occasion Javelinier from Carlos and he wins the game.
I don't know what is Marc thinking now.
I mean, he's not given up. That says enough. He must have something. Tapping 4.
Okay, 4 mana. Bro,
Okay.
He don't have anything in hand. He don't have anything.
I really thought Luis said he was going to play the Abyss or something. Well, no, he's not even tapping black mana. I don't know what I was thinking. I thought here comes something, a solution for the archaeologist.
Yeah.
This archaeologist is single-handedly winning the first game for Carlos here in the finals. It is a best of 5. He's not there yet, of course.
Yes. It's Marc is count. Another counter spell give another turn to Marc. No, and Marc is drawing 2 cards every turn.
True, absolutely true. And he's only played the Spell Blast so far. Although I think a Power Sink is no. Yeah, can he Power Sink? Yeah, if he keeps the mana open, he can.
Mana Drain.
Reconstruction. Oh, getting Chaos Orb back, of course. Then he can
Chaos
flip.
Orb.
Then he can flip.
Chaos Orb.
Oh, Chaos Orb back. He's gonna cast.
But Mishra's Factory is in the battlefield.
Of course.
Carlos.
Oh, so he sacks the temple. Wow, the temple is doing it here for him. He sacks the temple for 2 so he can cast the Chaos Orb, activate the Chaos Orb, and keep 1 mana open to use the Icy Manipulator on the Mishra's Factory next turn. Wow.
Okay.
This is exciting stuff. He's got to hit this, though. If he misses, it's a game.
But
Woo.
Okay. Destroy.
Wow. Luis, he's back in it. He's got an Icy, he's got a book, he's stepping down the factory.
The Mishra's Factory and no, tap with the Icy Manipulator. Rocket Launcher now. Rocket Launcher is I don't know. Rocket Launcher, you have to wait 1 turn to activate.
But this shows the power of those sack lands, because I've had people who were some people love the lands, but many people say, no, it comes into play tapped, it's slow, but 1 mana can make a difference, especially when you have a control deck anyway.
Yeah, it's a little time work in late game, on the late game.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, without the temple, he would have been dead. And now he's still in it.
No. I don't know why Carlos are land dropping every turn if he has Armageddon.
Good point. He's got Armageddon. He probably has a land tax in there as well. So why would he do that?
Yes.
Oh! It's man!
Yes, but Icy Manipulator. No. He can activate. No.
If Marc has a land in hand, which could be so because his hand is full, then he's still in it. But if not, Carlos has won it on the Preacher. Oh, there's a land. Yeah. And maybe now Carlos is getting punished for playing so much land the whole game.
Yeah.
Because I wonder if Carlos has any lands. It looks like he doesn't. He's passing turn. Ooh, Marc can get back into this.
Yes. Now the match is if Marc can draw more lands, probably he wins the game.
And that is a black source. The Urborg, right?
And now Carlos is in problems because if he land drop any land, Marc has 3 mana. With another mana, can activate Giant Dayton.
Yes, but
really complicated.
That stone. Oh, now the stone is giving mana again. And the stone wasn't giving mana. Okay, here we see a land tax. It's actually really good draw from Carlos here. That means that starting next turn, he can look up to 3 basic lands in his upkeep. And of course, draw his normal card for turn. So that is just insane. Land tax online is so annoying to play against. It's such a good enchantment, only 1 white. Insane.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I remember this game I played against also this land tax deck, and this guy opens up Mox Pearl land tax. I'm like, oh man, fuck me now.
No, now Carlos has chances, no? Because if he do a land thestral every turn.
Yeah, I mean, this land tax makes a huge difference. But then again, if you're Marc, you're probably still happy that you're still in it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Gaseous form.
So he's probably doing this because it's going to save him that 1 land, and he wants to use that for his Jam Day Tome, right? He wants to draw cards.
Mm-hmm.
It's for people that don't know. Gaseous form says that target creature neither receives nor deals any damage in combat, but Carlos can still use its ability to steal a creature.
Yes. Steal the ability.
Yeah, and basically what Marc is doing now, he's saying, I want to keep a mana open. Instead of wasting a mana to my Icy, I now have an extra mana open that I can use for my Tome, because the Tome is of course 4, and he has exactly 4.
Yes.
So it's, yeah.
But if Carlos empty his deck of lands, probably he will start to draw a lot of creatures.
Yeah, definitely. He's going to draw into threats. I like this step down, by the way, from Marc. That is a good decision.
Yeah.
1 white open. Yeah, Carlos is going to draw into gas, right? And I mean, Rocket Launcher is going to do it instantly. Occasion Javelineer, Triskelion. But I guess Triskelion and Rocket Launcher, they take a lot of lands, so it's going to take a while.
Yes.
But yeah, we'll see. I mean, there are a lot of creatures in the bin from Carlos. He still has some, but... Ooh, Maze of Ith.
Maze of Ith.
That is so annoying.
More trouble to Carlos.
And if you're Marc now, would you tap down a land? Or would you say, you know what? You do what you want to do. I'm going to do end step Jam Day Tome.
Yes, I probably prefer draw with Jam Day Tome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's got. I mean, he's going to drop his second land now anyway, and he can play so many creatures with 2 mana. So 2 or 3 isn't such a big deal.
Yes, and the Preacher is with a gaseous form, and the Mate of It is strong defense. Really strong defense.
Yeah, because Carlos now needs a creature for the Maze, a creature for the Icy. So he needs 3 more creatures to get 1 creature through. So it's going to be tough.
Or the Strip Mine to Maze of It.
Or the Miracle Worker to get rid of the gaseous form. That would be cool.
Ah, yeah, true.
And this creature, Combat Medic, my favorite art by Anson Medics of this version of it, by the way. 1 white and 1, you can prevent any 1 damage to any target, and it's an 0/2 creature, so it actually has no attacking power by itself. And we did see Carlos play it with Army of Allah in the semifinals, so it was still relevant, which was kind of nice to see. And he actually... Yes, sorry?
Combat Medic is stronger against red decks. No?
Yes,
against Marc deck, it's not really good. It's probably the worst creature one spell ago now.
Yes, I agree with you, but I think that's also, we asked Carlos for it in the semis, why are you playing it? And I think it's a good card, but it's probably more control, and that's exactly what he said, Luis. He said, against the red decks, it's been very, very useful for me in this tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And but here we see Marc, again, he's kind of taking the lead. Although, yeah, Carlos still has that land tax.
I think, I don't know how can it end, but I think Marc has controlled the match.
I mean, this is a best of 5, right? I mean, and if you see how this is the first game, we could be here for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to shuffle up again. But yeah,
this is like basketball. It's important to win the first game. To win the first game.
But for Carlos, he's like, I was so close. And now with all that mana open, and Marc has a lot of counter spells, it's also difficult for Carlos here.
And Swords to Plowshares remains in Marc's deck.
Yeah, and the Side Blast as well. And Tannis' Coffin and the Triskelion. He's got a lot of cards that can help him.
Yes.
And I guess the cards in Carlos's deck to kind of kill Marc are not that many. Especially when you look at how hard it's going to be for him to kill him with creature damage. So then he's only got, I guess, the Trike, Icasian Javelineer, and the Rocket Launcher.
And if Marc draw the Ivory Tower... Oof.
Oh man. That is the worst scenario, right? If then Carlos doesn't have like Disenchant.
Okay, 2 mana, Crusade. Not so good now.
At least it makes the Combat Medic into a threat. Right? Because it's now a 1/3, so he's going to swing in, probably going to use the Mace here, sending it back.
Yes.
Yeah, this is pretty much a no-brainer. But I do understand that Carlos attacks. Why not? Let's see what he does. I need to get another beer. It's still the first game.
I'm drinking too.
Yeah, what are you drinking actually? You were drinking kind of
Campari with tonic.
Campari with tonic. You're a classy man.
Obviously, I play old school.
Oh, sweet. Oh, Divine Offering. Would you now take the Icy or the book?
Probably the book.
Right? Yeah, because the book is gonna win him the game.
Oh,
but
Icy Manipulator.
I wonder if that is because he's got certain cards in hand. Could be the case, of course.
Yes. And probably Carlos has more creatures in hand if he opts to destroy the Icy Manipulator.
One of the things I like about the Jam Day tome for Carlos is that at least Marc has to invest a lot of mana in it. But then again, he's doing that in the end step, so that doesn't really matter that much. I'm thinking about counter possibilities for Marc.
Yes, probably, yes.
But I mean, Marc also has a full grip of cards there. I mean, he's been using that tome for so long. It's almost like the Library of Alexandria.
Marc didn't do a land drop last turn, no? Or yes? I don't remember. I think no.
I don't think so. And that means they're both on 4. That means that Carlos cannot use a land tax next turn, by the way, unless Marc drops a land.
Yes.
I think it's a good move from Marc, right? I mean, depending on... Oh, he's got the Maze of If, of course. That's a land. So he's got 5 lands in play. I always forget that Maze.
Yes. Because it's more than a spell than a land, no?
Exactly, yeah. That's also when I look back at the first games I played on the channel, one of my most common mistakes was play a Strip Mine and another land, or Maze of It and another land, because in your mind it's a spell.
Yeah, all like spell lands, no?
Yeah.
Like Mishra's Factory is the best creature in all school, and it's a land.
Exactly. At least when you turn it into a creature, it's super vulnerable because it's a land, an artifact, and a creature. So it's ridiculously good. Especially in control brews. I guess Carlos is taking a little break. If you can see, he moved his chair away.
probably he's opened another beer to deal with this Mate of It and gaseous form.
Yeah, he's like, oh man, I chose an aggro deck because I wanted to quick games. Now again, another control player. He kind of, in the semifinals, he played a combo deck. He played the Basalt Monolith Power Artifact deck.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you saw that semifinals, but it was quite nice because Carlos won the first 2 games pretty easily, and then he played game 3. We asked him to because he already won the match, and then we saw
which hunter in play.
Witch Hunter. Wait a minute, Witch Hunter can tap for 1 damage. It's a white Timmy.
Yeah.
Oh, it can be decisive.
Interesting.
Oh, if you're Marc, if you got a counter spell, I would use it. I don't think he has, or he would have said, oh, or does he? Tapping 3, Power Sync? Power Sync.
Power Sync.
Oh. Wow.
No,
Wow.
it's what about I'm talking before that Mark has a lot of cards in hand, and probably the cards are resource to deal with.
Yeah, to
With
deal with
Carlos
threats. And I
cards.
think also this disenchant is kind of relevant because
Yeah,
it turns the combat medic into an O2 again. Here's a Triskelion. Oh, but
Triskelion.
Carlos can still use the preacher, and of course, and in response, I believe Mark, or is would you use? I think if I was Mark, I would. Wow,
Yes,
I would use the trike straight away because Carlos can
Pro-
steal it next turn, and you don't want to have the mana untapped because then he can use his combat medic to prevent the damage.
yes, it's because probably Mark destroyed the crusade, no?
Yeah,
Kill the preacher.
he can now kill both creatures, and I think I would. Yeah, or he's going to say, you know what, to the preacher, and then I can just let the trike be. Yeah, that's also makes also sense.
Okay, and Carlos don't respond.
Because
He
in
could
response,
activate preacher.
yeah, so in response, Carlos could have said activate preacher,
Yes,
steal the trike.
yes, I don't know.
But then the damage is already on the stack from the trike, isn't it? So then the preacher's
yeah.
gonna die and he gets the trike immediately back, I think.
Yes, yes,
I think that's what happens.
it's true.
Wow.
Okay, Mesa Pegasus.
Yeah, the nice signed Mesa Pegasus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And now Carlos has 6 mana to Triskelion.
That's true. If he can find his trike, that's another winning option. He lost the Witch Hunter as a winning option, and Mark is tapped out, but I guess he doesn't have the trike, or else he would have played it. And just to clarify, Mark has played his Spell Blast and his Power Sink, so he still has Counterspell and Mana Drain. He's got 2 counterspells left, and it's quite relevant because there are certain cards in Carlos's deck that I think Mark really needs to counter. Trike being the most important one, right? Because he can use it straight for damage. Like Rocket Launcher is going to use a turn, Occasion Javelier is going to use a turn.
And with the number of cards in hands, Mark, and the possibility to draw with Giant Diatom, probably.
Ooh, but look, he's going to tap. He's going to tap. We see a
counter.
Tetravus. Rain Geyser.
Oh. I hate this card in 7 points.
Oh.
I hope it costs 3 points really soon.
Yeah, that's maybe nice to know for the Singleton lovers. Probably a lot here on the live stream at the moment. At the end of this finals, we're going to get Thomas, the organizer of Singleton, in, and he's going to announce the new points. So what cards are going up, what cards are going down. So it's going to be quite exciting.
Yeah.
But for now, we're still in the first game. And we're already 50 minutes, 5-0 in the first game, Luis.
Amazing.
We're gonna be best buddies after this, man. Let's see, Carlos. Again, Mark is not keeping counter mana up.
I think this is the turn that Carlos has to do something relevant, no? Oh, Dominant Archer.
Yeah, that's not very relevant.
No.
Carlos, do something relevant.
No, nothing relevant.
What I do like for Carlos, though, is that Combat Medic is really showing its value now. Because that Trike, it can deal damage, but Carlos can simply pay a white and 1, in his case 2 white, to prevent that damage. So that's kind of nice. But it's not going to win him the war, though. Mark has been on 1 for ages, and Carlos is on 24 at the moment.
Carlos needs some cards to deal with Mate of Ith. Probably Stream Mine. Stream Mine.
Yeah, he hasn't played his Strip, so the Strip is still in there.
Yeah.
He hasn't played his Chaos Orb, so that's also still in there.
Yeah. Oh, Control Magic.
Ooh. And he's gonna steal the Combat Medic. This shows how good the Combat Medic is. Wow, it's so funny. I've never seen anybody use the Control Magic on Combat Medic before. Wow, I like it.
That's 7 points.
You gotta do what you gotta do. Yeah, it's cool, man. I like it.
Yes, this kind of play is why I love this format.
Yeah, you definitely need to organize a second World Championship when it's easier for people to travel.
Yeah, not really easy now, but it's a crazy idea that we want to do in Madrid.
Yeah, it's super cool, man.
The biggest face-to-face tournament as we possible, no? And I think we have to start to do things, no? Because with COVID, it's always stopping, no?
Absolutely.
Stop.
Absolutely.
And we want to start to do things, no?
So
face-to-face things that is the better in all school, no?
I agree. Or organize it now. Have a great championship and do it again next year. Hopefully everything's open. You get even more players and more enthusiasm. Yeah.
Yeah,
totally
yeah, probably.
And here we see, I think Carlos asked, how many counter spells have you played so far, Marc? So Marc has played Power Sync and Spell Blast.
Yes.
That kind of signals that Carlos has something in hand, right? Something good.
I see those two untapped islands on Marc's side, and I can see his counter spell or mana drain in his hand.
It could be a bluff, of course. That's the problem with these blue players. He could just be bluffing. He's showing it so like, look at my blue islands. I got my 2 blue islands.
Yeah. Carlos is asking Marc about his counters.
2 counters. Oh man. It's not great. It's not great for Marc here. Or sorry, for Carlos here.
Yeah. Okay. How do you see this match? How do you think it will happen?
I am starting. At first, I thought when you said I think Marc can still get back, I agreed with you. But I said, well, with the land tax, there's a really big chance that Carlos is still going to win this. But now we're a couple of more turns in it, and I actually think that Marc is going to win this one.
Yeah, I think the same.
Especially he's got so much mana now, he can keep a counter spell up. I think he knows exactly what he needs to counter.
If the game is so long to this kind of white winning, I think...
And also with the trike in play, he knows I'm not going to use my trike because I want to keep my trike for example, the Occasion Javelinier, and I want to keep my counterspell open for the rocket launcher and the trike. And yeah. I think Marc knows this. And if that's really the case, yeah, then I think he's going to win.
If Marc could play the Abyss, I think Carlos has to lead this game.
Yeah, although Carlos still has... Does he have Disenchant still, Carlos? But then again, yeah. Before he played out the Disenchant, he's probably lost so many creatures. And his bin is already full of creatures, by the way.
Or probably any of both players lose with has no cards in his deck, no? Because
yes.
They are draw a lot of cards with land tax, with Giant Dive Tome, now with Jalum Tome.
Also a possibility.
Be careful with the cards on the deck, with the number of cards on the deck.
It's just crazy.
Okay, Triskelion, I think. No? No, 5 mana. 5 mana, Serra Angel, probably.
What is he gonna do? We've got 49 people with us, by the way, in the live chat, so welcome this evening. Let us know in the chat, who do you think is gonna win this? Do you think Carlos can still get a victory here? I mean, he is on 1, but like we discussed, chances seem to decrease instead of increase for Carlos here. Tapping the 5, yes. Serra Angel.
Yes, it was clear.
Yeah, and here we've got people already saying Marc just needs an ivory tower. You're right, Baptiste. If he has that ivory tower, he climbs all the way back up. Then it's over for sure. And he's not countering the Serra. That kind of shows the discipline. Or does it show that he doesn't have a counterspell?
I think Marc probably has the answer in his hand. And be careful with Regrowth to Wrath of God.
He's first gonna
Be
draw
definitely good.
another card.
Draw.
Yeah, exactly. That's a nice point here from Thorondor. He's saying Mark has not done any damage yet. Exactly. Mark has only been under pressure and after that controlling the game quite successfully. And he's done so very, very well. You know what's nice, Luis? We both have squeaky chairs. I'm actually sitting on an antique, I don't know the English word for it, but it's an antique Dutch chair. Schommelstoel, you say in Dutch.
Oh, really classy, no? Or...
It's from the early 20th century.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, it's completely wood. It's really nice.
I think most of old school players, we have these kind of things in common.
Yeah, right. We like antiques and things with a story, I think.
Yeah.
And okay, but that Sarah is there. I mean, he can attack next turn with the Sarah and the Pegasus, and I'm sure Mark has something against it. First off, he can just use his counter from a trike to kill the Pegasus.
Mm-hmm.
That's the no-brainer. But let Mark do it, right? Let's see what's going to happen. But you think he probably has an answer in hand. Of course, he cannot play a Psy Blast anymore because he is on 1. If he plays a Psionic Blast, he's going to kill himself.
Looks the Abyss. Yeah.
Oh, the Abyss. Oh, do you think Carlos is going to say, you know what, you have this now? Or
yes.
This is so tough for Carlos. This is such a slam in the face.
He don't have enough creatures to deal the Abyss, no? Or if now Carlos play 3 creatures at the same time, okay, he can continue playing. But if not...
yeah, but he only... Spirit Link.
Oh, Spirit Link and his Triskelion.
Yeah. And that means that when he shoots a counter, he gains a life as well.
Yeah.
That's nice. You don't see that often.
Okay. The Abyss.
Ooh, he's going to put the Pegasus away. Interesting. I thought he would put the Archer away. The Archer's 1/2, right?
Yes, but probably he thought the Archer is more difficult to kill with Triskelion.
Exactly. Yeah, but this Carlos, my man, this is not looking good.
Mm.
Is he swinging in now? He's swinging in with both. This is why not? He's got nothing to lose, right? At this point.
Okay. Make the 5th to Serra Angel, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he's going to block on the trike, I assume. Yeah, he could use an anthem like Army of Allah, for example, to kill the trike.
Yeah. It could be an option.
Yeah, so Mark has to be, but Mark also has, by the way, 2 white sources for his combat medic, because that control magic creature is a combat medic. So he can activate the combat medic twice to prevent 2 damage. So look, now he can use combat medic to prevent these 2 damage, right?
I think so. I have to search.
It's +2/+0. The Archer is now a 3/2. Mark can respond by, I believe, using the combat medic here, preventing a damage for 1 white and 1.
Yeah.
Let me know in the chat, by the way, if we're missing something here.
And combat medic prevent damage to players too. This is.
Yeah, combat medic is really sweet in the long game.
Yeah.
I wonder if Mark realizes that he can use the combat medic.
Probably. Or probably
it's always,
because he's thinking.
Yeah, it's always difficult when he can counter this as well. Maybe that's why he's doubting, but it's always difficult because it's not a creature that he plays with. He's stolen the creature.
Yes.
So, right? You know what I mean? That makes it difficult sometimes.
Sometimes you forgot that you can use the ability, no? Because it's not your creature.
Exactly, and also because now online, you don't have it in front of you. I like it to just have the cards in front of me, just like I like to see the expression on a player's face or the card count or...
Yes, it's because we have to do the World Championship face-to-face.
Yeah, very important. I think, is he going to use it now to prevent the damage? I think he is. Oh!
Yes.
I'm really liking this. I think Mark is playing is really, really good.
He realized Yes.
And now he's going to use the mace to maybe take it out so it doesn't deal any damage or receive any damage. And that's the cool thing about mace, with the new regulation.
Yes.
The way you can use it.
Works really good in aggro decks, Mate of It too, because you can attack with little creatures and prevent combat damage to one creature.
It took me a while when I started playing old school again to realize how good Maze of Ith is, because you can use it and defensively and offensively. When I first saw the card, again, I thought, oh, this is a control card, full stop. And then after a couple of tournaments, I realized, wait a minute, this is also an offensive card, or maybe in some decks more an offensive card.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for example, like a Goblin deck, you swing in with all your little 1/1s, he only has one blocker. You use the mace to protect the one that he blocks, and you deal damage with the rest. You're not losing anything. It's great. And
Repenant Blacksmith is the card.
Yeah, protection from red. That one.
Yeah.
And it's a 1/2 or a 2/1. A 1/2.
1/2.
Yeah,
1/2.
Arabian Nights. Drew Tucker art. Ooh, he's discarding the ring.
Yeah, we can't see the ring in action.
Oh, and he's counting his cards. It's going to be relevant now, both players.
Yeah. Obviously, I told you.
Yeah, and also, I mean, for Carlos, it's not a no-brainer because Carlos has used the land tax quite a lot of times.
It's because probably Marc is thinking now if activate 2 tomes, only 1 tome, and could be relevant.
It's better for him to stop activating it, I think. He's got control anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, of course, he's sacking...
Okay, sacrifice Combat Medic with the Abyss.
To the Abyss. Wow. I mean, that Combat Medic has done its work.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That puts that whole attack from Carlos in another perspective as well. Maybe Carlos should have waited one more turn until the Combat Medic was away. Yeah, I don't know. You know what I mean? Because if he now has the same scenario next turn, and now he has... Yeah, of course, he's going to lose the creature again to the Abyss.
Mm-hmm. I don't know which player have more cards in his deck. You know, Timmy?
No, I have no idea.
No. Because could be relevant, really relevant. Because if Marc has less cards than Carlos, Ivory Tower is not so relevant now.
I can ask, but no guarantee that they'll respond because they're in the middle of a thriller of a game. But I can ask.
Don't worry, we are enjoying this match.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. This is really shows how good this format is.
Yeah, and this match is a good example of control decks that can survive with 1 point of life 20 turns.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, wow, yeah. I really thought, especially when Carlos played the land tax, I'm like, okay, he's still going to be able to deal this 1 damage because he's going to find fuel. But Marc was able to build up back to 4 lands so quickly. That went very rapidly for him. And then, yeah, with the Jam Daytona.
I think Carlos is regretting to don't play red in his deck.
Yeah. Okay, Mark says, thank you for responding, Mark. Mark says, I've got 16 in the library, Carlos has 20. So Carlos has the advantage here.
Okay.
Card-wise. So I think this is maybe also a reason for Mark to just continue drawing.
And continue drawing, yeah.
I think Mark, you know, if I look at the way he's been playing, he really knows these are the cards from Carlos that are going to hurt me. These are the cards I need to draw to win this game. Even though Carlos is still on 24, it's insane.
Yeah, but I think he's thinking in Triskelabus,
Tetravus, right?
Tetrabus.
Yeah. So he wants to take care of the Sarah Angel, so Carlos has no more flyers. But wait, the Davant Archer it can deal damage to an attacking creature or only a blocking creature?
Yeah, I think attacking and blocking creature, no?
Yeah, because then it can kill flyers. So then Mark has to deal with Sarah Angel and the Devant Archer. Ooh, balance. Playing out the balance. Oh, that is tough. Here for Carlos. That means Carlos is going to have to put 2 creatures in the bin and then next turn sack his creature to the abyss. Oh man, Carlos, this is bad news. More bad news. Nice altered balance.
But Mark has to discard cards of his hand.
Also true. But yeah, Mark played, of course, the balance. So I'm sure he.
Okay, 2 lands.
And now he's got it in the hand. Carlos only 2 cards in hand. I believe 7 or something in Mark's hand.
Yeah, the plano.
Wow, this is a big surprise. One of the things he could have done. Oh, but the Abyss is in. I want to say use Animate Death on Archaeologist, but you're not going to do that with the Abyss on the board. But still, Animate Death, he could have gotten back so many good creatures. He even could have killed his own Trike, get it back with Animate for some reason. Oh man, this is a surprise to me. I wonder what the other 2 cards are.
It's amazing. Probably he wants to win with Triskelion only, and he keep 2 counter spell in his hand.
I can understand that, but he needs, of course, to get rid of that Maze of If then, if that's his plan. Sarah's going to die to the Abyss now, so that's settled. It's always sad to see a Sarah Angel leave the battlefield, but it happens.
And he could play Animate Death on Argivian Archaeologist of Carlos. And
yes, but then he has the Abyss. Because that would have been perfect.
Yeah, really.
Because I thought the same thing, but the Abyss kind of blocks that plan.
Yeah.
Ooh, Mark counting.
It's because Mark discards the Animate Death, but the Tetrabus, I don't know.
Yes, because the Tetrabus is a 4/4 flyer, and it's regrowth. Because what you can do, the Tetrabus, of course, a 4/4 flyer. In this upkeep, you can take the +1/+1 counters on the Tetrabus off.
The skull lets Mark don't die.
Get back the Animate Death. So he's going to then get back the Animate Death or whatever, and then wow. It's a plan. It's a slow plan, though. I think playing out the Tetrabus is a quicker plan, but. Again, looking at how Mark plays, I'm really sure that he's thought this through. Oh, I'm a counterspell. There has to be a counterspell. If not, is Carlos... of course, he can kill it as well with the Triskelion. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah,
yes. Mark can use the Triskelion, and probably he will do it.
So on end step, it looks like he's gonna draw a card, or was it tapped? No, it was tapped still. Okay.
That's interesting because force Mark to spend a counter on Triskelion.
But the nice thing for Mark is because of the Spirit Link, he's also going to double his life total because he's going to gain a life.
Yeah.
So that actually gives him
the Spirit Link.
It could be relevant,
The Spirit Link.
Mark has to use it, right? Mark has to destroy the Occasion Javelineer. Occasion Javelineer, a 1/1, comes into play with 1 Javelin counter, which really is flavorful because it's a Javelineer, it's holding a Javelin, and it can tap and then deal 1 damage to any target for that Javelin counter. And of course, it now still has Summoning Sickness, so Mark is on 1. Mark needs to kill the Occasion Javelineer. But he's really a control player. He's really looking at what is the best way of dealing with his Javelineer.
Yeah. Mark plays very good this kind of decks.
Yeah, you can see that he's a control. He's not just a player that said, you know what, I want to play control this tournament. No, you can really see these are the type of decks he plays more often, I think. Because that's something that I've noticed too, and I'm guilty as well, Luis, but there are so many fun decks to play in old school that you tend to change a lot. But it does give you an advantage if you play with the same deck longer.
Okay, Marx kills the Decatian Javeliner. and won 1 life. Oof. Marc is breathing now.
Someone is saying here, this is quite interesting, Magic Valence. He's saying, I think Marc is just looking for the coffin.
Yeah, probably. Or probably he has the coffin in hand now. Because coffin with Triskelion works.
Oh, he cannot do this. It still has summoning sickness, so we should send that it still has summoning sickness, right?
Yes, or with Triskelion, with Tetrabus. The coffin is really amazing. But, yes, it has summon sickness.
Yeah, so I'm sending now, we made an agreement with the players that we would send like short chat messages. Oh, he shot his face. Oh, interesting.
Interesting.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just to clarify, what we do when we do commentating like this is we put the players on mute, the players mute us, so we can do the commentating. So we thought here that he used the trike in his own turn, and he did not. Good, yeah, I agree with you, Luis. Good play, because he's got the abyss anyway. I mean, Marc is really. He wants to play it exactly right, and he's a very tight player. I like that.
But
I should play more like Marc.
He
Probably drink less.
He has to start to think in kill Carlos, because he has only 7 turns or more or less, I think.
Yeah, it's somebody said it here on the chat as well. The enemy, yeah, Baptiste says it here. The enemy is the deck of Marc and not the life total. You know, it's the fact that he's on 1 is not even relevant. He might as well be on 20 right now.
Mm-hmm.
And his deck must be really, really low. So Marc, just for people that are just tuning in, Marc has less cards in deck than Carlos.
Yes.
And as you can see, Marc is on 1 and Carlos is on 23. So Marc needs to find a way to kill Carlos before he decks himself.
Quickly.
And this is the first game of a best of 5. We started at 8 o'clock. It's now 9:15. So
amazing, 7 points.
So if you want to see the full 7-point finals, tell your boyfriend or girlfriend that you're very busy working.
Yes. Now it's clear the strategy of Marc. He's spent Triskelion and probably kill himself with the other counter, the Triskelion, and recover.
Get animate death back.
Yeah. Recover the animate death with the skull.
Wow. I do like this about 7-point Singleton, because Skull of Orm is such a cool card, but in regular old school it's simply too slow.
Yeah.
Because of all these efficient play sets that people play, you know, and here it works. It's just great to see. Ooh, copy artifact. I assume on a Triskelion. Yeah. Wow, and that means that next turn, and he can attack with both, because Carlos only has 1 maze, and then he can start shooting as well, and getting the animate that back with the skull. Wow. If he wants to do that, by the way, he probably first wants to attack a few times. Although he's got enough mana. Oh, we'll see.
Yes, Marc don't have the Spirit Link now.
No.
Oh, Chaos Orb.
Chaos Orb on the skull.
Probably.
Right?
Probably.
I mean, Carlos is now also focused on the deck. Oh, counterspell.
Oh, counterspell.
Yeah.
The 2 untapped islands. Obviously.
Yeah. But you got to do it. I understand, Carlos. You've got to do it. Let him play out the counterspell. You know, at least now he only has 1 mana drain.
Carlos has to have control now.
True.
Yeah.
And of course, another problem now for Carlos, by the way, is that because Carlos still hasn't played out a single Triskelion that he has in deck, but if he plays a Triskelion out, oh no, it doesn't matter, because then Marc can respawn by killing the trike, but then Carlos can respawn by taking the counters off, so it would still work.
Yeah, it still works.
Oh, thank you, Marc, for showing this. So 10 cards, what a thriller. So Marc needs to keep a mana drain in hand to deal with that last strike of Carlos, right?
Yes, it's true.
Yeah, wow,
And
wow.
10 turns are a lot of turns to a control deck.
Wow. It's going to go to 9.
3 mine.
Ooh,
Oh,
this is really going to help because that means he can deal 8 a turn.
The game is over, I think.
The only thing, I mean, Carlos needs a miracle, yes, but maybe Marc doesn't have the mana drain in hand, which I think is really, really unlikely, but who knows?
Yes.
And then he needs to draw a Triskelion now. Then he has won it.
Yes.
Right? That's kind of the scenario here.
Or the balance. No, Carlos don't play the balance.
True, he hasn't played the balance yet. So balance could force Marc to play a counterspell, a mana drain, the last counterspell in deck, and then he can play a trike. Or if he doesn't counter the balance, also good. Although then he still has the Skull of Orm. Okay, this is the priest, Icasian priest.
Icasian preacher, yeah. +1/+1 to a creature for 3 mana.
Yeah. Which sounds bad, but it's actually pretty good.
Protection from black for the Abyss.
Yeah.
But Triskelions are working.
And he's got the maze, eh? He also has the maze of it still. So he knows that next turn Carlos has to sack the priest. It's going to buy Carlos time, of course, because this means that Marc cannot swing in.
Time.
Wow. Oh, control magic. That Skull of Arm is really, really doing business here. Really nice to see this skull doing work.
Set 8 turns.
Yeah, but he's going to control magic the Order of Lightbeer, or the Order of Lightbeer, as they tend to call it in the States. And yeah.
That's right.
Oh, man. Oh, he's actually stealing the... No,
mistake. Because the other has protection.
Yeah, I think it was wishful thinking from Carlos, maybe.
Yeah.
Or is it? What is happening here? He's pumping?
I don't know. Yeah.
He's pumping and probably keeping one white open to give it first strike. Oh, wow. Yeah. This surprises me.
To prevent the attack. But with 1 point of damage of Triskelion, it will be die.
Yeah, but why would he not just steal? Yeah, because he can pump the priest, of course, and then he needs to invest more counters. Okay, makes sense.
Interesting play.
Yeah, I think that Marc is like, you can use the priest to pump the Order of Lightbeer, and then could Marc said in response, I'm going to ping the Order of Lightbeer so that before the +1/+1 works, I've killed your order? Would that be possible?
I think not.
Anyway, the situation scenario is as follows. We've got a pumped up Order of Lightbeer, so that means it's going to be hard for Marc to kill it. Marc is swinging in with 2. Now remember, Marc does have a Maze of it, so he can simply maze the one that he's going to block, which I kind of assume that he's going to do.
Yes.
And next turn, because Carlos doesn't have the priest anymore, he can just deal 1 damage with one of the trikes, right? One of the counters.
Yes. It's what happened.
Yes, Matthew, this is absolutely bananas, and we're almost an hour and a half in this game. So we see 4 damage dealt by Marc here, and we see the scenario as described, and it's got a pro black. This is interesting that Marc is telling you've got a sack, so maybe Marc didn't realize. The fact that Marc is doing this makes me wonder if he realized, hey, it's a pro black.
And if he don't kill, can attack.
I think Marc is now looking up. Is it true that Order of Lightbeer doesn't die to Abyss? And that's true. But it doesn't matter because Marc can just simply use one of his counters to kill it. Because you can pump the Order of Light Bearer only with +1/+0 for 2 white, I believe. So I'm expecting Carlos to swing in, right? Yeah.
It's very difficult for Carlos now with the School of Orn, with Control Magic.
It was already difficult, but with the Skull...
Yes. I think the Skull is the card is winning this game.
I really like this combination between Control Magic, Abyss, and Skull of Orn. Because he steals the white creatures from Carlos that he's then going to sack to his own Abyss, right? And in that way, it's going even faster. Even if Carlos manages to play out extra creatures every turn, Marc can kill an extra creature with that Control Magic trick. Yeah, Carlos, I would just get another beer, to be honest. I think that's the best option now.
Yeah.
What do you think? What brand is Carlos drinking? You know him? He's your friend?
Carlos.
Yes, Carlos.
Yes, he's one of my best friends in Old School League in Madrid.
Yeah, but what brand of beer is he drinking? Because you know him.
Yeah.
And a passing turn. So here we see the scenario: the priest dies to the Abyss. And, that means that, of course, Marc can use the Skull of Orm again.
Yes.
And we didn't see an attack by Carlos, so he's keeping it at bay. And there we see a Spirit Link.
No.
Yeah, and the Spirit Link was brought back to life with the Skull. There we see the 1 damage as expected. Gonna swing in for 5, take 4 lives. Actually gonna swing in for 7, sorry. Swinging for 7 and take life. Oh.
Yeah.
Gonna go up to 6.
This is him. 1 hour and a half.
I think, yeah, but Carlos is like, no, man, I can still win this. Miracle Worker. That is such a funny card. You can tap it to destroy target enchantment, right? That's enchanted on one of your creatures. That's the rule, right? So I think it doesn't work against Control Magic, does it? Because when somebody controls your creature,
you don't.
Yeah, you're no longer the controller.
Yeah, you can.
So it works against Weakness and Paralyze and cards like that. Or Gaseous Form. But it doesn't work against Control Magic, unfortunately. I think it should, actually. Because it's a Miracle Worker. It's in the lore of the Dark. The Miracle Worker plays quite a big part in the book about the Dark.
Nah, this is finished. Control Magic to Miracle Worker. Bump with the 2/3 Skellion.
I just gotta laugh about this whole scenario. Like, who would have thought? I'm gonna play my Skull of Orm Control Magic Abyss trick. You're like, that's 800 million mana.
Yeah.
This is it. Yeah. Okay. Wow.
Incredible game.
What a game. So okay, it's a best of 5.
Yeah.
And, we just saw the first game, and I'm gonna change the score here.
I'm sweating because in Madrid is really hot, the weather now, and this game was very close.
Crazy close. But at a certain point, we started to predict already, but then he almost decked himself, and I started to think, maybe Carlos is actually still going to win this.
Carlos never leave a game.
Okay, so there we see Marc Eric saying that he's got until 11. So he's got an hour and a half still to play. So he's saying, if the other games are going to take this long. Well, Marc, in all honesty, it is your deck, man. You've built this crazy control brew. But I get it. Okay,
I think School of Orn is the card of the match.
Of this first game, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Although it was almost Argivian Archaeologist. Because that did some work.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Oh my god, man. Argivian Archaeologist Aeopile is kind of a quicker version of Marc's Skull of Orm Abyss Control Magic trick.
And this is the proof that recursive cards in 7 points are the best. No, Arcadian Archaeologist, Skull, the cards you can play more than one time.
It's so great, and these are the cards that are usually, like in regular old school, simply too slow, and there's too much good removal. If you can play a play set of Disenchant, play set of Bolts, you're too vulnerable with the 1/1.
Remember the Witch Hunter when Marc was at 1 life point? Really dangerous too.
So we're about to go into game 2. Oh man,
it's difficult that Carlos have a better start than the first game, with Savannah Lions and another creature.
Carlos was so close, as you say, right? I mean, for the same, there could have been a scenario that was also very plausible where he just would have won. He was so incredibly close. But you already said that when he had the archaeologist on the board, you said like the problem is the archaeologist is his only weapon here. You know, as soon as he deals with the archaeologist, he's back in the game, and that's exactly what happened. If he could have found some other threat, some other way to deal pressure, he still would have won.
And Carlos has a lot of cards to deal with, like Control Magic, Swords to Plowshares, Wrath of God. It's complicated.
Wrath of God, another card that you don't see often in regular old school. You do see a lot here.
I like to play Wrath of God in regular old school because I used to play control decks without blue, and it's an MVP, to do the card advantage.
I like Wrath of God Resurrection. I just remember playing that in '95 as well. And what I like, Resurrection is expensive. I get that, and it's only your own graveyard. But it's not an enchantment. With Animate Dead, if they disenchant your Animate Dead or do something to it, or bounce it or whatever, you lose the creature.
Carlos and me talking a lot of Resurrection, and I think Resurrection is not a good card in Carlos' deck because his creatures are very little. No, spend 4 mana to Resurrection a Benalis hero. I think is not a good idea.
That is true.
Carlos' deck.
Yeah, then you might as well play another small creature. Yeah, true. Yeah, so someone saying here, Wrath of God, Baptiste is not good in old school because of Mishra's Factory. That is true, although, when you look at, what are the threats? What are creatures I see a lot? Mishra's Factory being one of them. But also, for example, Sedge Troll is a huge problem. And you cannot regenerate with Wrath of God. It's the same reason that not a lot of people play Terror in old school, because there are a few creatures that you cannot target with Terror. But there are a lot of creatures left still, so it all depends on the meta. And maybe Wrath of God is more a sideboard card then. Right? But we're talking about regular. We're in Singleton now. The nice thing is, by the way, at the end of this final, again a lion.
One more time.
Oh, and again the temple. Identical opening, this from game 1. Identical. What I wanted to say is after this match, even if they cannot finish, Thomas is going to join us and he's going to tell us the new point list for 7-point Singleton. And here we see the blacksmith, right?
Interesting.
It's identical.
It's the same game.
Wow. I mean, if you're Carlos, it's a 1-2, isn't it? You would just swing in with the line, I guess. Although it depends, of course. If you have Divine Offering or Disenchant, you're going to attack with both.
Now the best card, probably Strip Mine to Mishra's Factory.
Oh, wow, yeah. Also because you cannot counter a Strip Mine.
Yeah.
Strip Mine is such a good card as well.
Yeah, very necessary. Okay, 2 more points. And
what I love as well is here you can see why a Savannah Lion is a rare. I mean, 2 power for 1. That's good.
Yeah, really powerful.
I mean, if you talk to modern Magic players, they don't understand why Savannah Lion is a rare.
For me, the best creature in old school for 1 mana. Better than Kirei, for example.
No. I am going to give you the boring answer. Wow, Thunder Spirit. Carlos
Thunder
really... Wow, finding all his hits, right? 1 turn, 2 turn, 3 turn creature. This is what he wants to do.
Yes. Really balanced deck.
Wow, and that flyer is going to fly all over that Mishra's factory. We didn't see a counterspell by Marc. He's discarding, not finding any lands.
Oh, no lands. Okay, Armageddon now.
Carlos, flip, right?
Chaos Sword to Mishra's factory, probably.
Yeah, and then you can
the
hit.
next option.
Yeah, or you can say, I'm going to take the temple, and then cannot attack 1 turn, but then you have only colorless mana. That could also be an option.
Stream Mine, Mishra's factory, I think is the
Yeah, would you
best
go on
option.
the factory just to deal as much damage as possible?
Yes. Okay. Yeah, Mishra's factory.
And now he's going to swing in for 5 damage. He's going to drop to 11.
Dangerous for Marc if he don't draw any land.
He's got to find the land drop now.
Yeah. Oh, I think.
And this Chaos Orb hits him double because he loses blocker and he loses a land, and he was already low on land. So, wow, we just had a very long game. I think this might be a very short game, but we're not there yet, of course.
Yeah, and if Marc wants to sacrifice his temple, it's very dangerous for him.
I think a dream scenario for Marc here is draw a plains, play a balance, right?
Oh, this Carrot Triskelion. No, this look a very short game.
Yeah, but if you're Carlos now, would you commit more creatures to the board, or would you say I'm kind of worried about a possible maybe balance as an out for Marc?
No, more creatures.
More creatures?
I think more creatures.
Well,
yeah.
I agree with you because he can now deal 5 points of damage with 1 more creature. If he can play 1 more creature out now, he can finish it next turn, and then it's a 1/1.
Yeah. Yes, obviously balance is the only card that Marc needs.
But I don't think Carlos, come on, you gotta have another creature. Or not, he does have another creature.
Damn an Anarcha.
So next turn, Marc is dead unless he finds a plains and a balance. Or he can just pretend that his internet is really slow and loses connection. Those are his options.
Yeah.
That was a bad joke, Luis. You need to drink more. They get more funny if you drink more.
Yeah.
The jokes
I
get
want
better.
to drink more.
You need to come to Amsterdam, by the way, when everything's open again.
Old school without alcohol is not authentic old school. Okay, the draw and no.
I mean, if this would have been the dream scenario, balance plane scenario, that's it. So this game took 5 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. 5 minutes, and the other game was an hour and a half. So
amazing,
it's
amazing 7 points.
And here you see the good old strength, I guess, of a deck like Carlos's, right? It's mono, so it's consistent. It's mono white, so there are a lot of options for 1, 2, and 3 drop for the creatures. Perfect.
I think in 7 points, it's always dangerous to keep a hand with only 2 lands and 1 colorless land. No, it's probably Marc could do a mulligan.
That's probably what Marc is thinking right now, but probably the rest of the hand was so good. He's like, I can. He was on the draw, of course. He's like, I'm going to draw a card, play my land, draw another card. So he had 3 cards to go, and perhaps he just needed that 1 extra for, I don't know, maybe a little book or something. But yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Very dangerous. Only 2 lands in hand in 7 points. It's because control decks in 7 points plays 24 or 25 mana sources. No?
Yeah, and I have that's another thing I like about the Singleton format. It's not like everybody is playing all the Moxen because they cost points.
Yes,
not everybody is playing a Lotus. You really got to think about how you want to do it.
That's do the game more interesting.
And it also makes a card like Mind Twist less powerful. I'm not a big fan of Mind Twist. So that's good. I do think it's good that cards like Mind Twist exist, by the way. I'm not against, I don't want to ban it. I don't believe in banning things in old school, but it's a nice card to hate. You know what I mean? If someone mind twists you, you're like, what? Ooh, there we see Thunderwolves, 1/1 first striker.
I think 3 points for mind tweets it's okay. It's really good.
Yeah, sounds fair.
Yeah. Okay, don't.
At least, I mean, Mind Twist at least is sorcery speed. And also in Singleton it's a little bit less scary because you don't have the Moxen and all. Okay, playing another one out. So now he's playing a double threat out because the Mishra's Factory is also a threat. He's not curving out as well as in the other game, but still he's got 3 threats on the board now.
Mm-hmm.
And that
means...
Yes,
3 creatures.
Yeah, Marc is looking at 4 damage if Carlos is not doing anything. And Marc is, just to clarify, he's playing almost creatureless. The creatures that he plays are Triskelion and Tetravus. But he does play Control Magic, Animate Dead, and all sorts of shenanigans. There's a Disrupting Scepter. Disrupting Scepter, 3 and tap, and then you force your opponent to discard a card, but your opponent can choose what card to discard. That makes, of course, a huge difference. It's not random. And you can only do it in your own turn.
It's not the best card, Disrupting Scepter, against control decks.
I think, Luis, if you play Disrupting Scepter, you got to play Apprentice Wizard. If you look at the art, the Apprentice Wizard is holding the Disrupting Scepter.
Mm-hmm.
And it's both by Dan Fraser, the art. So
yeah.
I'm gonna send him a message one of these days. I'm gonna ask him. Anyway, he's swinging in here for 4, right? So Marc dropping to 15. Yeah. Do you think Carlos is worried about this Disrupting Scepter?
No, I think Carlos can't play a lot of creatures every turn, and I think his best option don't attack with Mishra's Factory and continue playing another creatures, to avoid the Disrupting Scepter.
And of course, if Marc uses his Scepter, it means he cannot do anything else because it's taking away 3 of his lands. It also means he cannot counter. It's in that way. It's it's not great for Marc here, and he's going through his hand. Is he again missing a land drop?
Marc needs more mana sources.
Definitely, that definitely. But the fact that he hasn't played the land yet, I mean, this worries me a little bit. That's the problem playing against a deck like when you're playing against Carlos. The pressure is on it straight away. You cannot miss a land drop here.
And also, little creators.
Oh, balance!
What's that?
Balance! That is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Again, here you see the value of Mishra's Factory, right?
Yeah.
It's Mishra's Factory is such a good card.
Another land. I don't think it's Volcanic Island, probably, or.
Yeah, so he was waiting with the land drop because of the balance. That makes absolute sense. And that shows how much Marc values his lands, right? Because he could have said, you know what, I'm going to play a land, forcing Carlos to discard a card. Instead, he preferred to have that land on the board and let Carlos keep a card. I think it's a good decision, right?
Yes, really good decision. He really needs more mana sources to activate the Disrupting and continue playing.
And of course, you want to maybe use your Disrupting and keep 2 blue open to counter.
Okay, Mishra's Factory attacks, and Carlos needs another creature.
13, Pikeman, 1/1, Banding and First Strike.
This kind of little creatures are really annoying to control decks because you have to spend Sword to Plowshares or Psionic Blast and really little creatures, no? It's really annoying.
I love it to have Wailuli Wolf on the board when somebody has a trike, you know? They then know they have to spend 2 counters on 1 Wailuli Wolf. They don't want to do that. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, here we see the Disrupting Scepter activation from Marc.
Okay, a desert.
And at least Marc can now keep 2 blue open to possibly counter next turn. The problem, of course, for him is that Carlos can here swing in for 3 again.
Yes.
Also,
Armageddon.
I hope for Marc here he has a weapon. No, he doesn't against the Factory, I wanted to say, right? Because if he has a Disenchant or anything, he could have played it. He has the mana for it. Because he really needs to get rid of that Factory. There's another Lions.
Savannah Lions.
things are looking bad for Marc here. Okay, there's a counter spell list.
Oh, yeah.
This is good news for Marc, but he still has to deal with the 2 threats on the board. He has got some time though.
But that means that Marc don't have white removal in his hand.
True, or else he would have said, cast it, end step, swords, whatever on the lines.
Okay, Carlos discard a card.
I mean, is this his last card in hand? It's kind of hard to see.
Yeah, probably his last card. He's thinking to play the card.
Oh, he's got 2 cards. Ah, okay.
Nice. Mace of Thief.
Ooh, I think the other card is a creature. I think, Luis.
Yeah, probably. Okay, 2 blue mana, untap it. And Carlos is thinking.
Man, I would first attack. I would just first attack.
Yes, but probably he's thinking to attack with Mishra's Factory or not.
Yeah.
He could have a big creature in hand.
Maybe he's got Sarah in hand or something. Ooh, I think you're right, Luis.
Yeah. Probably a Serra Angel or, little creature. It's a Iolifier.
Interesting. Oh, now his hand is empty. Balance. Ooh, discarding all the cards in Marc's hand here. And again, we see the power of Mishra's Factory because Carlos is going to keep a creature threat. Animate that. Copy artifact. Oh.
Ivory Tower.
Oh, this is huge. What a good play by Carlos. Only losing a pikeman for those cards, right?
Yes, sacrifice his pikeman to do a mind twist.
Wow.
Okay, Mishra's continue bumping. Oh, is it chat or swords to plowshares?
I think it's a swords. Yeah, it's a swords. Good call here from Marc. Good
from
answer.
The top.
Perfect
but
top
another
deck for him.
creature is coming. White Knight.
Ooh, White Knight. And White Knight is protected from the abyss.
Yeah.
And tapping 2, casting power. Ooh, this is not looking good for Marc. When you're a control player, you want to have cards in hand. You want to have options.
Yeah.
If you don't have options, and for an aggro player, having no options is not that bad as long as you have pressure. And Carlos has pressure.
And the scepter forced Carlos to drop the planes, and because for Carlos it's better to keep the planes in hand because after would came the Armageddon.
Yeah, and maybe also to say, use your scepter, right? Because then you need to spend mana.
Yes. The scepter.
But this is Miracle Worker tapping 4 Wrath of God. Wow.
Holy shit.
Wow. This is fantastic. This game is going all over the place.
From the top to the battlefield.
Perfect play by Marc here, finding that from the top.
Another creature.
Ooh, but it's an O2. It's a
combat medic, no?
Yeah, it's combat medic. It's an O2 creature, 1 white and 1 to prevent the damage to any target. And he's finding a Jailum Tome. That's kind of nice. Because all he wants is creatures, right? He wants gas. Whatever he draws, disenchant on the Jailum, I think it's a very good decision for Marc here.
Yeah.
Because he's on 5, Aeopile can deal 2, that means he's basically on 3. Ooh, this is kind of, okay-ish, Mishra's Factory.
I think now the game is more good to Marc.
Marc is getting control back again, right?
Now we are in the same situation that the first game, with Marc with a few points of life, but cards from the top to Marc are more powerful than Carlos' cards from the top.
That's a good point, Luis. I think you're right. Swords is gone here. Thomas' Coffin, also a good card.
Yes. Every card is a bomb in Marc's deck.
Yeah. It's again this race, and Carlos seems to be losing at the moment.
It's very similar to game 1.
But it's also here you can see the power of Scepter, right? Because Carlos, he loses swords because he cannot play it out.
Yeah. Oh, with the Abyss. With the Abyss. No, this
losing the trike. Oh, if he could have cast the trike, he didn't have the mana, of course. He could have played the trike kill, actually, Marc, with Aeopile and trike.
I think Carlos is a little bit angry because he could kill Marc with Triskelion and Ilolipile. And
he missed one mana. He missed one mana.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And if you're Marc, you're like, okay, I'm in a good place now. I'm fine. I'm fine. And Carlos, I guess, again, he's waiting on another land and a rocket launcher.
Yes, or disenchant to the Abyss, now that Marc don't have a lot of cards in his hand.
I mean, that balance play was great. Moorish Cavalry gone.
Moorish Cavalry. No, very bad luck to Carlos.
Oh man, yeah. Marc is in the driver's seat. He's kicked Carlos off of pole position.
In this point, if I were Carlos, I probably concede the game.
What are Carlos's outs here? So I guess rocket launcher is an option, right? Rocket launcher 40 cast. You can pay 2 and deal 1 damage to any target. You can do that multiple times, but at the beginning of your end step, rocket launcher is sacrificed, and you cannot use rocket launcher the turn it comes into play. So it has to be into play for a full turn.
Yeah, is the only way.
And here's using a strip mine on the factory. Is he then putting the factory in the box?
Yeah.
Oh, the Vicious Factory. Oh, man. In response, he's dealing 2 damage to kill it. Yeah, I think this makes sense. Of course, Carlos knows that Marc doesn't have a lot of threats, right? So he knows if I can take care of the threats.
I don't think it has sense because the only way to win is rocket launcher and Iolpile. And
True.
Now only with rocket launcher, he needs 10 mana to kill Marc.
Yeah, that's a good point. Oh man.
If I were Carlos, I concede this game probably. It's absolutely lost. It's absolutely lost. Yeah, it's because balance and Wrath of God and the Abyss, it's very complicated to deal with.
Marc,
3 cards.
Marc is winning this game because of his top decks. Because he top decked Swords to Plowshares, top decked Wrath of God. Right?
And balance and top deck Wrath of God. And top deck Swords to Plowshares to Carlos Misra's Factory.
Yeah. Oh, and here we see the trick of Thomas's Coffin and Triskelion. So what happens is when Triskelion comes back into play, it triggers again. It keeps the counters, but it adds another 3. So you can here see it's now a 7/7 Triskelion.
Yeah.
And Marc can just keep doing this. And he has, again, and this is something we discussed, Luis, Marc wants mana. As long as Marc has enough lands to do all his crazy stuff, I mean, he's golden. And like we discussed, top decks really saved Marky to get back in the game because after that, attacking here for 7, by the way, he's going to drop to 13.
Very, very strong top decks, really, really near.
Yeah, because after that well-played balance from Carlos, I thought, okay, Marc is done for.
Yeah, because the Misra's Factory, but Swords to Plowshares from the top to Misra's Factory, and I think, no, it's very difficult because Carlos has to deal with the Abyss.
I think he can already win, right? He can.
Okay, disenchant or Divine Offering.
A Divine Offering.
Yeah, Divine Offering.
But now, if he does it on the Triskelion, Marc can use Thomas's Coffin. Yes, he's doing it on the Coffin.
Yeah.
So Carlos is also gaining 4 life, going up to 17, and then there's probably going to be the attack, right? And he's going to go back to 10. Yeah.
Yes, but now the Triskelion is at 7/7.
Yeah, but that still means that he dies next turn.
7/7 monster.
And the problem with Trike, of course, he can attack, deal 7 damage, and then take the 6 counters off. Yeah, this is game here. Marc is going to take it here. 2-2-1. Remember, this is a best of 5. And wow, the top deck gods are really in the favor of Marc, at least in this third game. So it's 2-1 here. Again, a very entertaining game, I must say, Luis.
Yes, and we can see that the kind of games are the same. No, Carlos start really hard with a lot of creatures, and if Marc can deal with these first turns, probably Marc ended to win.
Oh man. But now we get the same story again, where Carlos is on the play, and if he has a perfect curve again, it's going to be so hard to stop him. And someone here is reminding me that, of course, you can use Rocket Launcher twice. I don't know if you know that trick, Luis.
With Rocket Launcher, no, at the end of the turn, and you can activate the Rocket Launcher twice. Yeah.
Yeah, and that means that the next turn you can use it again. So in that case, Carlos could have won with 1 rocket launcher.
Yeah. True.
So I guess.
Okay, 2-1 to Marc. If Marc wins this, is
2-1 to Marc. If Marc wins this, he is the winner of the 15th tourney of Singleton. So the pressure is on Carlos.
Yeah. Carlos has to win. I think every hand that Carlos open is a good hand, because probably the hand will be full of little creatures. Every hand. If you can see, Carlos didn't do any mulligan.
And is Carlos always playing aggro decks, by the way?
No, he loves play control decks too, but he plays better aggro decks than control decks.
Nice. It's always it's just nice to play a lot of.
It's my friend. He's my friend. I can say.
Yeah. No, I know. It's all good, man. It's all good. I say this a lot on the channel as well. When we commentate on plays, it's always, of course, from our limited perspective, right? And also, we cannot see the cards that they have in hand. So.
And for all the listeners. I want to say that Carlos has a lot of old school articles writing in Liga Madrileña's old school webpage. He writes about amazing decks that he invented to regular old school, and there are really interesting articles. I probably could put the link on the chat for.
Yeah, if you send me the link afterwards, I'll add it to the description of the video. I've also added the link in the semifinals to his Instagram account. So if people want to, they can follow him as well. What is his Instagram account again, by the way? Do you know that?
Okay. This is the link of Carlos' articles and are in English too.
Okay, I'll add it. In the meanwhile, by the way, we see Marc here playing Chaos Orb. Then Carlos is attacking with the White Knight. And there we see more threats on the board from Carlos. Mesa Pegasus passing turn here. Would you use the Chaos Orb now?
No. Okay. Marc can wait the Chaos Orb.
That's a clear answer. And it looks like he agrees with you, tapping his 2 lands here. Felverstone, maybe? He doesn't have that many spells that cost 2.
The worst enemy of Marc's deck is his own deck with lands.
So, the worst enemy of Marc's deck?
Is his own deck. Because if he don't draw lands, his own deck, it's an enemy for Marc.
Yeah, but I wonder, after that one incident where he kept a 2-land hand and got destroyed, I wonder if he's going to do that again. But we'll see. If he doesn't have any lands now, he's got a similar problem, right, that we saw earlier. Copy artifact, nice.
Copy artifact to Chaos Orb.
Wow.
And another land. Okay.
And would you flip now? I guess you would, right? He's got 2.
Yeah, probably to the knight.
Yeah, also
because knights do more damage.
Yeah, and also because the knight is great against the Abyss. Another reason.
Yeah.
But Carlos still has a Pegasus going strong. 1/1 flying and bending, art by Melissa Benson.
Come on, Pegasus.
Going in.
Pegasus is the pet card of Madrid League.
Oh, really? It's a beautiful,
Madrid,
card.
Madrid is in a mesa in Spain, and we are the Mesa Pegasus of Spain.
There are a lot of old school communities in Spain.
Mm-hmm. Madrid, Barcelona, Valencia, Basque Country.
Very nice.
Asturias, a lot of players, a lot of old school players.
And there have always been a lot of good Spanish Magic players in general.
Mm-hmm.
So Carlos. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
No. Say.
No, I wanted to say Carlos is missing his land drop, not playing a creature. It's looking bad for Carlos.
Mm-hmm.
And Marc is doing his thing. He's like, oh, if you're only doing 1 damage, fine.
It's like a time work to Marc that Carlos don't play any creature.
Yeah, exactly. Because now he's going to 15. This is going way too slow. Okay, at least a creature drop here from Carlos.
And Carlos draw a lolly pile in every game, and is probably one of the worst cards against Marc.
Yeah, because he hardly plays with any creatures, right? So it's basically just 2 damage. That's it.
Thanos Coffin.
Again, kind of a stall card here, right, for Marc. You can put a creature in the coffin. The nice thing as well is with Thanos' Coffin, when he untaps it, it comes into play back tapped, which can sometimes be relevant as well. I guess more when you're on the offense.
Mm.
But that's a nice thing to know. I've built a deck actually with Meekstone and Thanos' Coffin. Because the creature comes back tapped. So I would put a Sarah Angel in the coffin and give it back to my opponent.
Yeah, true.
It's really funny. It hardly ever works the way you want to, but...
Meekstone is another good card in 7 points that is not a good card in regular old school.
It's hard to play in regular old school. It is possible. But it's not going to be a top tier deck usually with Meekstone. So a double attack here by Carlos, at least dealing 2 damage. And how much is it to activate the Thanos' Coffin again? Is that 3?
Yes, 3.
Yeah, so the fact that Marc is not doing it is probably showing that he's got maybe counter magic in hand, or he wants to pretend he's got counter magic in hand. And of course, keeping the Chaos Orb option open.
Marc is thinking probably he consider dangerous this attack, or don't have more removal in his hand. Okay, Thanos Coffin to...
Okay, he is using the coffin. Okay, I thought we were already past the combat stage. So he's taking 1 damage then, right? He's going to 12 or not? Did he already take the damage? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I guess he took the damage. So he's on 13 now. Carlos still on 20. But look at the lands of Marc there.
Yes.
Also with the power. 7 lands. Oh. 7 mana, I should say. And passive turn here. Attacking with the 1/1.
And another little creature, Javeliner.
It's better than not playing a creature, I guess. But it's not what Carlos wants to do.
Yeah. Carlos needs a crusade or something to bump his creatures now.
Definitely. Crusade would really help, because then all of a sudden he can deal 4 a turn. Oh, there we see the flip. So he's going to go for the Javeliner or not?
Yeah, interesting.
Doesn't like the Javeliner.
Okay.
That surprises me, to be honest. It's a bit aggressive from Marc. Well, aggressive in the sense that he's still on 12. Then again,
Marc wants to control his life points in this definitely game, no?
Yeah, probably. Reconstruction
to Chaos
Orb. Yeah. And this is an example where now I understand Marc's play much more. Reconstruction in hand, because of course taking 2 damage or 1 damage a turn is a huge difference. And when you have reconstruction in hand, it's even easier to make that decision because he's got the orb back anyway.
And imagine that Marx has the Skull of Orn in his hand. And to recover the copy artifact, no?
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Yeah, Skull of Orm, I guess. It is a really good card. It's just the fact that it's 5 to activate. Oh, dude. Oh, man. You're a fortune teller. Can you join me the next time I play a tournament? You can give me advice when to do what. Because you know what the opponent's going to do.
I think, what's the worst card for my friend?
Wow.
Okay, and he can activate the copy artifact and do every turn.
This is, I mean, again, it's really cool to see this, but I feel bad for Carlos because, I mean, this is just bad luck central for him. I guess he really needs a disenchant or a divine offering to get rid of the Skull of Orm.
Yeah. Or Chaos Orb.
Yeah, so he's got a couple of outs, but okay, no, that's not it. Come on, Carlos.
And what do you think about Dust to Dust in 7 points? Because Carlos don't play Dust to Dust.
Well, if I'm looking at this control deck of Marc, I'm like, get that Dust to Dust in there. I don't know how many decks there are that are heavy on artifacts. I guess a lot. Right? I guess you see Icy a lot. Aeopile, you can of course sack in response to the Dust to Dust. But then again, then the other artifact still goes away. I guess the problem is you take 5 damage from Dust to Dust, right?
No, Dust to Dust.
Or that's Ashes to Ashes.
Yes, this is Ashes to Ashes.
Yeah,
Ashes to Ashes takes 5 points of life. But Dust to Dust, no. The problem of Dust to Dust is that you have to exile 2 artifacts, and if the opponent has only 1 artifact, you can cast. Yeah,
you need 2 targets. I think what I would do, if I was thinking about using it, I would maybe, every time I play it and it would have been relevant and I'm not playing it, I would mark it, right? So that you know, okay, for example, against Marc, it would have been a great card. How many opponents have I seen this tournament where it's great? Just like the combat medic, actually, right? You say it's great against red. A lot of people play with red. Probably. So what do you think? Because you know the format much better than I do.
Against Marc's deck?
No, but in general, do you think that Dust to Dust is worth playing?
I don't know, because it's controversial to me, because, for example, against a deck like Carlos' deck, Dust to Dust, it's a really bad card.
It's a dead card, yeah.
Yes, and probably it's better if you play, for example, Jalum Tome, because you can discard it and draw another card. No, it's this kind of cards like I don't know, I don't remember the name of the circle.
This is good, by the way. Divine Offering on the Skull of Orm. This can get him back in the game. Will we see a counterspell for Marc here? This can get him back in the game. Although he can, of course, still use the Skull of Orm in response to get the copy artifact back.
If Marc has counter, he must to counter a spell.
Oh yeah, he's using it in response, so he doesn't have a counter spell, I think.
Okay, don't have counter spell.
Yeah, so this, at least Carlos is kind of back in. I mean, you do know that Marc still has the copy artifact. And then Marc can choose, is he going to copy the Coffin or copy the Chaos Orb?
Yeah.
Both vultures. Okay. Swing in for 2.
Continue attacking.
This Divine Offering is really what the game needed, right? Because now Carlos is back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Look, untapping the Coffin. Interesting.
Probably
choice.
He has Wrath of God or something like that, or balance.
Good point. That's a good point.
Yeah, Wrath of God.
Luis, man, every time you say, you're like a bad luck charm for Carlos.
Yeah.
You're like, every time, like, what's the worst thing that could happen to Carlos? He's probably a discard.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel bad for him, man. I mean, he gets rid of the
Carlos,
Skull of Orm, and then this happens.
Carlos has the same bad luck in Magic like me.
But then again, he made it to the finals, right? So he probably had a few games where he was lucky. Despite the fact that he's got a good deck and all that. But you need a little bit of luck to get to the finals.
Okay, Taunos Coffin to...
Yeah. And this must be so frustrating for Carlos because you know that Marc also still has that copy artifact in hand to make it even worse. You know?
Yes, Marc can keep his copy artifact in hand now.
Exactly. He doesn't. Why would he play it out now and make a choice? And he knows this, or is he going to do it now? I think he is. Interesting.
Yeah, copy artifact to Taunos Coffin.
I am, to be honest, I'm a little bit surprised because I would have thought, why, like what you said, Luis, why not keep it in hand? You just have this extra option.
Yes, because he after can play copy artifact to a Giant Die Tomb, for example, or an
Icy, or situations can change. But okay.
I think he did it because probably he doesn't have more white removal in hand.
Braingeyser. Oh, Luis.
I really hate
Luis. But all the horrible cards for Carlos are in this game, one at a time. Seriously.
This Rapid Scepter.
And now the Ivory Tower. Oh.
I think Braingeyser has to have 3 points or even 4 points.
We're gonna see after this match, right? We'll have Thomas, who's gonna join us here in the whereby room, and
because always end the match the Braingeyser.
Let's see, tapping 3. There's a Preacher. Again, Preacher, not such a good card against Marc's deck. I'm sure it's an MVP against a lot of decks, but
yes.
And this must be so frustrating for Carlos.
Yes, because with Ivory Tower and a big Braingeyser, I think it's impossible.
If he can't even do that single damage with the Preacher anymore.
It's a nightmare to Marc. To Carlos. It's a nightmare to Carlos.
Definitely.
I think the same deck Carlos playing, but with red color, a pink Winnie, could be better against.
I saw that was 2 years ago, the Raging Bull series, which is an online tour. Well, not an online tour, but we did it online twice now because of the pandemic. And I saw, I think it was a powerless pink Weenie deck win that tournament. Swedish rules was quite impressive to see. That combination of early pressure with white Weenie and direct damage, killer. Icy to make things even worse, right? I mean,
I think now it's impossible to Carlos this game.
Angelic voices.
Angelic voices.
This gives +1/+1 as long as you have a white creature, right?
And artifact creatures, white and artifact, and bump the artifact creatures too. Yeah, but now with Icy Manipulator, Maze of Ith, double Taunos Coffin, impossible. And every raw disc could reset this.
It's nice here. We got some comments about Marc's top decks, but also about his deck. I mean, he plays. Marc plays 27 lands, I believe, which of course is very important, right? I think that's the right number because he needs a lot of mana. And his deck, of course, besides those 27 lands, it's all power, right? It's very powerful cards. It's exactly what you said, Luis, in that one game. When it comes to top decking, Marc's going to win.
Yeah. And with 26 lands, you can be relaxed that you land drop the first 3 turns.
Yeah, and that's so important, right? Because the game that Marc lost was because of mana problems. And I have to say, game 1, what a thriller! I mean, we're not there yet. Marc hasn't won this one, but it's looking so good for Marc here.
Yeah.
And look
This is impossible.
and again, I mean, Carlos wants to kill his opponent with combat damage. Marc's whole deck is based on that. He's based on keeping your opponent, the creatures away. And you can see that if you look at this board state, double Tonnis's Coven, Icy Manipulator, and on top of that a Maze of If, and on top of that an Ivory Tower, giving him even more life every single turn.
Yeah.
Insane. There we see the Blacksmith again.
Yes. Not a really good card to Marc, because only has one. It's a 1/2, not a 2/1.
It's got pro red, right? But that's not relevant. But that's why it's in there probably. Because I think it's red is what is the most popular color at the moment in Singleton?
I thought red was the most popular color in Singleton, but in the last statics of this tournament, blue is the color more played.
Wow!
And it's because I think some blue cards has to have more points, no? Like Control Magic, for example. Control Magic, it's
such a good card.
It's a really unfair card because in 7 points we don't have a lot of enchants removal, no? And
I agree with you, because if a Control Magic is unanswered, it's a 2-for-1. If it's answered, it's a 1-for-1. So the player of the Control Magic collector, either way, if you're using your precious disenchant, which you only have a 1 of, right?
Yes, and still artifacts sometimes don't mean the game, no? But Control Magic a lot of times means that you win the game.
So you're expecting Brain Geyser and Control Magic. They're kind of on your list where you say that would make sense if they go up in points.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if Carlos can find a way through. I guess it starts with casting maybe Armageddon?
Yes, but the Ivory Tower continues there.
Yes. And of course, in response, Marc can still flip his orb and kill one of the creatures.
Yeah.
But remember, because of the voices, his white creatures get +1/+1 here. So it's a 2/3 Blacksmith and a 2/2 Preacher. Yeah. I really like the art of Preacher, by the way. It looks like a 50s or 60s Preacher in the States, in like the Midwest or something.
Yeah, it's like not so powerful than Control Magic, but it's a Control Magic creature. No, I think every white deck has to have Preacher. It's
funny how that happened in the dark, right? With Preacher and Witch Hunter. Witch Hunter is like the Timmy and Time Elemental in one. Mm-hmm. And Preacher is like a Control Magic. So these very blue things all of a sudden finding their way into white.
Yes, true. Blue things on white color. Okay, attack, and nothing happens. Yeah. I don't know what's the plan for Carlos now. I don't know.
The problem as well for Carlos is, look at that life total of Marc. In previous games, when we had this kind of standstill scenario, at least Marc didn't have the Ivory Tower and he was much lower on life. And now he's double digit and he's got an active tower and he's got an Abyss now. Oh my God.
The Abyss.
Oh my God.
Sometimes in Magic, luck is important. And I think Marc drew all of the worst cards for Carlos, and Carlos drew the most useless creatures against Marc. No, always the Preacher, always the Combat Medic.
Look at this, he's tapping it down. He's not even sending it back with the Maze. Just to clarify, like the way, I guess most people know this already, but the way that Icy works under new ruling, right? You say, I'm going to go into combat, do you want to respond? And then your opponent has to tap a creature before knowing if that creature is declared as an attacker. And right now, I mean, Carlos only has one attacking creature, so it's not relevant, but there are moments when it's relevant. So based on what your opponent...
How many cards have Marc in hand?
How many cards?
Yes, because for me the most interesting thing now is to see in action the Ring of Renewal.
Sweet.
for
Sweet.
first time in my life.
I organized a Fallen Empires tournament not too long ago, and there was a lot of Ring of Renewals. So I can send you a couple of matches with Ring of Renewal. I played it as well. It's a fun card. But we haven't seen Marc use it at all. He actually discarded it, right, in game 2 or something. What is he going to play here? Oh, Triskelion.
Triskelion.
I mean, this is a good creature because it's not affected by the Abyss. But
yes.
Marc can do something really nasty, and that is, which may sound odd, putting a trike of Carlos in the box, but he can then get one of the white creatures of Carlos back on the battlefield, and then he'll just have to sack, Carlos has to sack that white creature to the Abyss.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I mean, Marc doesn't even have to. He's got the Mace, he's got the Icy.
Yeah.
Oh, he's actually going to flip on it. Interesting. And this is another thing that I'd like to point out. If you say, I'm going to activate my Chaos Orb, you don't say what target you're going to flip on, because that can affect the choices that your opponent makes. For example, Carlos could have said, I think you're going to flip on the trike, so I'm going to take my counters off and shoot you for 3. And then Marc can actually say, okay, that's what you do, then I'm going to choose another target. He doesn't even have to tell the opponent what target he's going to choose.
And imagine that Marc would have kept his copy artifact in hand. Now, copy the Triskelion of Carlos and...
yeah, you're right. Absolutely. And it looks like, okay, he's not untapping it. He's untapping 1, it seems. Get the Thunderwolves back. Thunderwolves going to die to the Abyss next turn.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
No. I think it's impossible to Carlos now.
Wow, 23. Life total still going up.
Yes, but when Marc starts to put Triskelion or Tetrabus on play with 2 Taunus Coffin, probably the game ends very quickly.
But look,
Triskelion.
There's a Triskelion. I mean, these are the cards, but now, I mean, Marc's getting a lot of time, and he has the Jalen Tone, so it makes sense that he's drawing all this power in his deck. But this is exactly what you want to draw in the final.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem again, even if Carlos finds, let's say, a balance, right, it doesn't really matter because they're all artifacts. Only the Triskelion is affected, and Marc can use the coffin to save the trike. Here, there's the balance. It's not going to matter, I think. It's not going to matter.
Because he can activate the other coffin to his own Triskelion.
The only reason to counter here, if he counters, is hand size. Right? Making sure he keeps cards in hand. Spell Blast, yeah. Beautiful art on Spell Blast, by the way. I think this is a beta copy. Beautiful.
Yeah. Okay, Carlos. Are you really fucked?
Yeah. If I would be Carlos, I would just, I would go get some more beer.
Probably Archivian Archaeologist with a Chaos Sword, but now with the Triskelion, impossible. And with the 2 Taunus Coffin, no.
There he goes, up and up and up.
Probably Marc attacks now with the Triskelion or do the coffin trick. I don't know.
Yeah, or attacks and then do the trick. He can do the trick, of course, in the end step of Carlos as well.
Yeah.
If I would have been Marc, I think I would have... Oh, yeah, because you want to deal that 4 damage. I wanted to say I think I would have untapped the other coffin, let Carlos get his white creature back. He has to second... Oh, yeah, it comes back tapped anyway. Ooh, animate that on the other trike. That's probably in the graveyard of Carlos. Right?
The other Triskelion, yeah.
Nasty.
Yeah.
I mean, Marc just keeps drawing into more, like, nastiness.
for Marc, it's not enough one Triskelion.
Wow.
He wants Carlos Triskelion too.
But don't you agree with me that it would have made more sense for Marc to untap the coffin and get that white creature? Because I think it's a Pegasus or a Pikeman that turned around creature on Carlos's side.
Yes, with the Abyss, no?
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
yes.
Because it eats it anyway,
Yeah.
and then he has an extra coffin open, and yeah.
Yeah.
And let's say Carlos finds a way to kill the Abyss before all that happens, then Marc still has a mace and an Icy and the Trikes to kill whatever he wants. So
probably Marc didn't remember because he did it the last turn.
Yeah.
With the other creature.
Yeah, you're probably right. Swords
to Plowshares.
Probably on the Trike he wants to put in the coffin. So in response to that, does Marc have a counterspell? Does he want to use it? And of course, Marc can now in response deal 3 damage to Carlos still, who's on 19 by the way, which is pretty high. Carlos 19, Marc on 24. I would definitely swords on the one that he's putting in the box, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because he's pointing to the untapped one, I think I would definitely or maybe he's putting that in the box.
Yeah. I think the animate death remains on the Triskelion. We'll get it back when I untap. Marc is
Yeah,
is asking.
I'm thinking about it. What happens to the animate death? I'm not sure actually. I think it stays on there, but
yes, I think because Triskelion remains the enchants on there, no? I think the enchants.
Yeah, we can look it up on the Gatherer to see the current Oracle text.
It's a complicated question, no? Because.
Also because these rules usually change. I'm looking it up on the Gatherer now. But we do, okay, let's see. Exile target creature and all auras attached to it. Note the number and kind of counters that were on the creature. When Tolus's Coffin leaves the battlefield or becomes untapped, return that exiled card to the battlefield under its owner's control with the noted number and kind of counters on it. If you do, return the exiled cards to the battlefield under the owner's control attached to that permanent.
I think Marc keeps the Triskelion because the enchant is not destroyed. The Triskelion remains with the animate death on it.
Yeah, the animate death stays on. Like if Tolus's Coffin leaves the battlefield before, let's see. Yeah, the animate death comes back. Are you typing that at the moment?
I think is the Triskelion is of Marc because the enchant remains on the Triskelion. Yeah. Enchantments stay on the creatures, say Thomas. I think it's not relevant for the game instead, but I think.
No, so if the animate that stays on it, then it stays under control, I would say, of Marc. Oh, interesting. We have somebody that says owner should get it back. Animate has the earlier timestamp.
It's like.
I'm not sure what that means.
It's like a spirit link or something like that. Not enchantments remain on the creature.
Yeah, the enchantments remain on the creature. That is not the discussion. So it does come back with the animate death. But then the discussion is that animate death and still working for Marc? I think it is. But I do see one response from Oblayu, who's saying animate has the earlier timestamp.
I'm not sure. I'm asking because I'm not sure.
Ah, Baptiste, thank you. In the coffin is the Order of Lightbur, which is pro-black. Ah, it's not the pikeman. Thank you, Baptiste. Now it makes sense that Marc is not untapping with coffin.
What's the solution?
No, we don't have a solution yet. Oh, interesting. Animate death doesn't give control if the creature is already in play.
And destroyed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you here for the help. Wait a minute. So I'm typing now. Wow, this is a weird situation, by the way. So I think, based on the advice we're getting here, is that if this scenario would happen, that if Marc would put it in the box, then takes it out of the box again, the animate death is still on there, but it doesn't give control to a player. So it just goes back to Carlos with the animate death on it, which is absolutely weird. Look at the cards in Marc's hand, by the way. Did you see that, Luis? Divine Offering and Counterspell. Man, are you still with us, Luis? Looks like we've lost connection with Luis for a moment. Hopefully, you'll be able to get back with us.
Okay. I'm here now.
Okay.
No, I told that all of this time spent in find the solution, finish with a counter spell.
I know, but did you see the cards in Marc's hand and a Divine Offering and a counter spell? It's like insane.
Yeah.
Power.
Really
This whole game number 4. This is, I guess, has been like one big Marc power play. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And a special thanks to Oblayu. Thank you, man. Hopefully I'm pronouncing your name correct, but thank you for your help.
Okay. Tap both coffins.
The coffin can just create such weird scenarios, right? Can you imagine a card coming back with the animate death of the opponent on it, but it's on your side? It's like completely unnatural.
In old school, we have a lot of amazing interactions between cards that probably game creators couldn't imagine when when they designed the cards.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that, right? Because sometimes people say, why aren't you playing with the old rules? And for example, in Alpha, you didn't have the stack as we know it today. So the reason you play with the new rules, usually modern rules, is that the game is just more playable. Because already with the modern rules like this, there are a lot of these moments in the game where like, what's really happening?
Yes.
So yeah, that's the reason.
In Madrid, we play with Mana Burn, for example. We play Eternal Central World.
Yeah, I mean, you can put Mana Burn on or off. There are arguments for it and against it, but you still also EC rules still uses the modern rules, right? Apart from Mana Burn, then.
Yeah, I think Mana Burn gives sense to some cards like Power Surge or something like that.
Yeah, what I like about Mana Burn, I recently played with a Power Surge deck myself in the tournament, and I like it that I can use cards like that. That's pretty sweet.
Okay, 2-3 Skellions ready to attack Carlos.
I mean, I'm sorry for your friend, but he's going to get eaten alive.
Okay. Next week we take a beer together to to pass this this final.
Wow, because look, I mean, already look at the counters on Mark's other track. It's a 6/6 and a 3/4. Why? Because that animated that gives -1, -0. Regrowth, is he going to get his Skull of Orm back? Just for style points. Ah, the counters. I think this is a missed opportunity here. He could go for style points.
I think the Mark's deck works so good because he has a lot of cards of points, not a little cards of high points.
Yeah.
So a lot of cards of 1 point: Mana Drain, Mate of It, Regrowth, The Abyss, Balance.
Smart.
It's because I think, for example, Brain Chaser has to have 3 points, no? Because in this situation, Mark have to renounce to another of those powerful cards, no? Like Mana Drain or Balance or Regrowth.
Yeah, and I think what we see here, by the way, is Mark attacking with both Triskelions. Carlos is going to pump his Priest and now into a 2/3 of Pendelhaven, and then he can use the white mana to make it a 3/4. Can he actually pump it because of the angelic voices?
Yeah.
Anyway, he's using the mace, so it's not really relevant. It's going to go down to 10.
Mm-hmm. 10 and with both Taunos Coffin.
Yeah, so if he uses a coffin now, or just a coffin on both of his strikes, get them back in the battlefield next turn, he's got the game.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, this is it.
Yeah,
so
the game is sent.
What I'm going to do now, I'm going to take them off mute so we can hear the players.
It's funny. It's funny how the players
Thank you.
gives their
Congrats
cards.
to second place.
Now, before you draw a Wrath of God at the top, that was
We can hear the players now. Or?
Yeah, and we
I
can
got
ask
very
them to
lucky in the
unmute us.
second game. Unlucky in the second game, I think.
yes. In the first, you only one life.
Huh?
In the first games, you had one life.
Yeah.
Many times in the game.
Okay, we can unmute the others so we can talk to them. Give me a second. We unmute them.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, very
Hi
interesting.
guys,
game.
I hear you now.
Hey, congratulations, Mark. You were kicking Carlos when he was down already in that game number 4.
I need a beer.
Yeah, I understand,
Yeah.
man.
I need a beer.
I told to Timmy that next weekend
Oh, look, it's dark here.
I have to invite you to a beer.
Oh, I would love to come actually, but I heard it's a bit far away, right?
What do you?
Madrid, yeah, it's in Madrid, man. Where are you located, Mark?
In Munich, in Germany.
Oh, Germany, nice.
Yeah, Carlos. So I think Carlos is gone for a minute.
Okay, Mark, difficult games, no?
Yeah, but very fun games. I like to play Control, and I like the song that's named "One Life Is All You Need" because that's basically what I had in game 1, right?
That was insane, that game 1.
I never had such a long game before. That was the longest game in my 7 points life for sure.
Mm-hmm. And what do you think was your best card in your deck in this game?
I think it's Skull of Orm because the deck wouldn't work without it.
Yeah, we are talking about.
So I was a bit, let's say, unpleased in the beginning because I heard you say my deck is very much like a normal blue-white control deck, which is not true at all. Like I don't play Terra Angel, Marmodigen, all this stuff. I only play 2 creatures, and my deck is completely different from a normal blue-white shell. It doesn't do the same thing. It's different.
Yes, because you do better the Triskelion and the Tetrabus with the Abyss.
Yeah, that's my only win condition. I can just loop Triskelion and Tetrabus with Tabnus Coffin and also with Color Form and Animate that.
It was really funny to see the Skull of Arm doing that thing when you had Control Magic, The Abyss, and Skull of Arm, which is such a mana-hungry system, but it worked for some reason. And all those poor weenie creatures got eaten alive. Ah! Yeah, it was brutal, man. Yeah. And you top decked really well. What game was that where you top decked the swords and then a Wrath? That was fantastic for you.
That game I top decked pretty well, but I think I got unlucky in the second game, right? I had in the second game.
You had no mana.
Really terrible my hand, but I had the land that you can sacrifice for 2 blue, and the Mishra's Factory in play, and I had the Abyss in the hand and the Triskelion, and the Mana Drain. So I thought like, okay, this is already good. I just need basically 1 land at some point in the game, because if I ever draw, for example, a Black Source, I can't just sacrifice it for 2 blue and
play the Abyss, and
play the Abyss, which if he doesn't have a disenchant will probably win me the game. So it was actually, even though it looked like I got completely crushed, I think it might have been actually a bit closer than it looked. I just needed one land basically.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because Luis and myself were discussing that as well. Like, okay, he's keeping a 2 land hand. He is on the draw, so I get that. So you get to see 3 more cards. So he must have a really strong hand.
I had the Wisdom Mana Drain and an Animate that, and Triskelion too. Yeah.
And I think, Carlos, I don't know, what was it, game 3 or was it the game we just saw? It's hard to they start to blur together, but when you played that balance, I thought that was really good.
For the 2-1 ones.
Yeah, because
that was game 3. Yeah,
the balance.
Yeah, because you sacked your pikeman, but you kept.
I discard your hand.
Your balance. The opponent's balance. That was insanely good. Yes.
I had Mishra.
But that was the 3rd game where I had to top deck.
And then I thought at that scenario, and I said that as well in the commentating, I think Carlos is going to have this one now. And then you top deck the answer to the factory, and that was just brilliant. Because Mark, you're a control player. You want to have a handful of cards. I recognize that. So as soon as you lose those cards, it's like you're naked, right? It's like
And Carlos, how many times you draw the combat medic against Mark controls deck?
One or two. I think. It's my test. My test card.
was very funny when Mark do a control magic over your combat medic and prevent the damage to himself.
Was a good game.
Yes, but I think it was good control magic. So, but I think more than like, you didn't see my hand, but you would probably have laughed, because in 3 out of 4 games I had the Circle of Protection Red in my starting hand, and in the 4th game I drew it, I think turn 2 or something. So basically from turn 2 on, in each of the 4 games I had Circle of Protection Red in my hand. Which was not optimal.
Yeah, which I like that of the format, that you cannot sideboard. That you make a choice, because COP Red is good against so many decks. And for you the same, Carlos, with Combat Medic. It works against a lot of decks, not against Marks. It is what it is,
That's
right?
authentic magic. Magic.
I think it's pretty cool. What I'm actually gonna try next time when I play a league, I'm gonna try the Ring of Maruf, because it is like sideboarding.
Oh, talking about the Ring of Maruf, Luis, you want to ask him about the other ring? What's it called again, from Fallen Empires?
Yes, Timmy and me, we
Ring
were talking about Ring of Renewal, because we want to see in action.
I never drew it, but it's a very good card. It's basically just like another Gemday Tome that costs 1 more mana.
Yeah, and when you have no cards in hand, but I guess it doesn't happen a lot.
No, it doesn't happen that often.
Because I've used it more as an aggressive way to fill my hand.
Yeah, if you have 0 cards across 2, that's correct. Yeah.
What do you think about Jalum Tome in your deck, Mark? Because it's disadvantage of cards.
It doesn't matter. The format is such that it revolves around specific cards. For example, this matchup revolves all around the Abyss, around, I guess, Armageddon from the opponent. It revolves around very specific cards, And if you make card disadvantage to get this specific card, it's definitely worth it. So the format is such that the power level of cards you have in your deck range from very bad to very good. So if you can cycle your very bad cards for very good ones, it's almost like card advantage. So yeah, I would never cut that card. It's a really good card.
Okay.
And you're playing with a lot of lands, I guess, which you need in your deck. But sometimes you might be land flooded, and then you can.
I almost never discard lands. Actually, I like to have like all the lands in play. But yeah, I think the key is just that, for example, in this matchup, you're digging for the Abyss or for Balance or for Wrath. And then it's just so crucial to have it. It doesn't matter that you have one card disadvantage if you have the Wrath, for example.
Sweet, man. Well, I'm going to congratulate you. And I see that, Thomas, you've joined us because you've got an announcement to make.
Hey, guys. Can you hear me?
Hi.
Well, first, thank you. That was a super awesome final to watch. Very good.
Thank you for organizing the league. It's always a pleasure to play.
Yeah, thanks, guys. You're doing a good job. Yeah, we're taking a break from the league for the summertime, and we're gonna go back to real life Magic and holidays. But yeah, so I know for the Madrid tournament, we updated the point list just yesterday.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Timmy, you got the little thing we sent you.
Yeah, if you want, I can put it on the stream.
Yeah, so basically, anyway, we're never gonna make everybody happy.
So Thomas, would you like me to put it now on the screen?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool.
So we're really aware we're never gonna make everybody happy, that's for sure.
Yeah, don't worry.
But basically, if you look at the card that got upgraded in points,
I'm getting it up right now.
Were more than 32% of the field. Basically, there were 3 of them. You can guess there was Brain Geyser was in like crazy numbers of blue decks was 36% of the field, and in 2/3 of the blue decks you had Brain Geyser. The problem with Expel, we know that often in games that are a very close game, like we saw it today again, very close game where it's top decks, you have good interaction, then you just need a crucial Brain Geyser, and it's very swingy. It's good, but sometimes it just ruins some games. And there is no much way to interact with Brain Geyser. We understand that sometimes it's only good because of the other card it draws you into, like Moat and Abyss and stuff like that. But it creates a situation where close game and interesting game suddenly get out of way. So I don't know. It goes to 3 points, and I think it's still gonna get played a lot. I have no problem. We know that. But it means people will have to think harder about what they have to cut. Maze of Eve, recall, stuff like that. They'll have to think harder what to cut. And then the next few cards are other Expel, above 32% of the field were both Disintegrate and Fireball. And a bit for the same reason than Brain Geyser, we know that Expel often can ruin a good game or a close game, and suddenly it's whoever draws is 10 direct damage. Yeah. So it's tough for red decks, like they suddenly get 2 points, but I think what people will just do is they will just have to cut one or the other, and they'll still be able to run one of them. Obviously, blue-red deck are taking 3 points already, but there is a 4th point coming up, is Control Magic as well. Control Magic is a 2-for-1, and it can sometimes be a 1-for-3 if the guy has to kill his own creature to get rid of an enchantment. It's very hard. So, I mean, it's another very interesting card. It can be slow, but it's very hard to remove enchantment, and it's a 2-for-1 for sure. Yeah. And late game, it's very hard to recover when you're on the top deck mode. I don't know. We just think that we wanted to make the blue staple a bit harder to build around. It means we're gonna see maybe less Maze of Eve because people will have to think, okay, Control Magic, Maze of Eve, thing like that. So it's not a bad thing because Maze of Eve is also a card we see in like 40% of the decks. But I think now we didn't increase Maze of Eve because I think it's gonna make it a little bit harder now for people to choose what to cut. We'll see what happens. And another change, but I think that's probably more minor. It's since we increase fireball and disintegrate to +2, we reduce channel to back to 1 point. I think channel might see a bit more play, but more the normal ways is meant to be played, like a high risk, high reward, like a turn 2 channel for Force of Nature, thing like that. That's all right.
Colossus of Sardia, that's cool.
But I think it's no harm. The channel fireball combo is still a +1 point now. We have the 2 expel are +2, and the channel is -1. So I don't think there is any risk there. So that's not super spicy change, to be fair. There is an argument to be made that to really shake the format and put disenchant, swords, a lot of things on the list. But I think in each color you got 12 staples, and we could put all of them on the list, I'm sure. But it just makes the list very confusing as well. So we keep it a bit simple. There is one more card now on the list, it's Control Magic. And the rest is blue-red deck. Are now 10 points pretty much. They take Control Magic, Brain Gazer, Fireball, Disintegrate. So it's +4 for them. But blue-red deck, we're all playing pretty much Brain Geyser, Drain, Recall, Fireball, Disintegrate. They had 6 points, always the same. So now they're 10 points. They'll have to cut something. Yeah.
It shows that blue is a very strong color.
Yeah, but I don't think we're trying to balance. We know that green, we're never going to get all color 20% of the field. Like, we know that, okay, it's Magic, blue is probably 30% of the field. We're okay with that. I think it's going to be trying to get all the color the same is a tough call. Like, I don't think that's realistic. Like blue is way, but that's okay. I think every
in every old school format, blue is more played, and it's also same in Legacy.
Vintage.
I don't think that makes them a bad format, and also a lot of people like to play blue. So even if you try to balance it, make blue bad, maybe people would still play blue because they like blue.
And the same with red. We're not trying to make red bad. I think red will still get flashed a lot. There is a lot of very good cards in red. So, but I think we wanted, people may have to go play Howl from Beyond and stuff like that, which are very cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's a very good expel, and they might have to find other avenues. But yeah, close game finishing up with an expel can sometimes be very frustrating. And then there were cards like Jalum Tome, Jayadel Tome. I don't know. There's an argument to be made that people think, okay, I'm building a deck and it's already 10 cards always the same, Chaos Orb, Jalum, Strip Mine, Mishra. So people say you're building a 50-card deck, but I think it's okay,
Yeah, you also need consistency in the deck and the power level of the cards that you have to put in at like the 57s, 58s, and 59s card, and 60s card is already pretty bad. And if you restrict more, I think the format is not getting better if you just put more lands on the list.
Yeah, and also I'm confused. Now there is so many other formats and EC, Paladins, Tundra Worlds. I'm already confused, remembering all the different things on the list, and I think having a long list is also a problem, changing the list too much too often. So I think we have to keep that in mind as well.
I also think so. If someone builds a deck like that, they built blue-red, they bought all the cards, you might push them out of the format now. So that's a problem whenever you change the list.
Well, I think I don't think in old school. Yeah, I mean, you think that's a risk in old school? I don't know.
I think that people play old school because they like consistency. So if they build their deck, they might pimp it out, whatever, and they just like to play their deck, and then they might not be amused if you.
Yeah, no, but with the current change, it probably just means cutting one card. Like if you cut Brain Geyser, for example, it solves everything. If you cut, you remove one expel, you remove the Maze of If, and you can probably run the same list.
No, I'm not saying that now a lot of people will leave because of it. I'm just advocating for not making too many changes every season, because it's not what people want usually, in my experience. People want consistency in these old school formats.
I think the format was, I don't know if it was balanced. I mean, it always gets solved after a moment. But I think it wasn't too bad. Maybe I think it's good to shake it every now and then, but I think that's not too. I mean, reducing the Moxen is always on the back of my mind, but I feel like that's what Singleton is good, is because you don't have many Moxen.
Yeah, I don't think that usually Moxen do not improve the gameplay, because what they do is sometimes you have them and you might just run away with the game, and then it's very lopsided, and that's usually not good for the game.
I also think the monocolor deck are already pretty good. They don't need much. Do they really need more? More help? Mono red, mono white, mono black.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't need. I don't think it's gonna. You could maybe see cool deck who play green white Armageddon deck, but is that really fun to play against?
But
are you scared that white decks might get too good with this new change of the 7-point list?
Yeah, I thought about it. I was not too sure in white deck. I don't know if his balance is worth 2 points. I didn't know. I didn't want to put disenchant. Didn't want to put sword. So,
I think balance is worth with 1 point, because you lose lands and creatures and cards in hand too. No, it's not so powerful like in regular old school. No,
I just love casting balance. I mean, they always make interesting choice in that format, I think. Yeah, it's not like you saw Carlos play balance. I thought he won the game. You play balance. I thought you won the game. It's so interesting. Like, it makes cool plays, I think.
And I think the nice thing is you have a world championship now, right, Thomas? To look at the results. If all the white decks are winning, you know you got to do something. So.
But the powerful. I mean, the problem with white, you always have the same 12 cards being played. Yeah.
I mean, the World Championship is nice, but it's like it's too small to really dish out the money and the time to travel there. At least for me, from Germany, it's like a bit too small. I would travel there if it was like, a bigger event, bigger prize pool or something.
No, Mark, no.
I'm still cool with it, but I'm just saying it might not be representative.
Mark, small events are the best events. It's fun. You get to know everybody. You drink beer. It's the best. I don't like big events.
It was a timing issue for me. I will definitely travel one of this year for sure. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I can't wait to travel to Spain, Italy, and all that for sure. Yeah.
The other thing would be that I would need friends to travel with, and I don't have many people here in Munich yet who play 7 points. So I guess that's the second issue. If somebody was here in Munich saying, "Hey, Mark, let's travel," I would probably even do it actually.
Yeah, but it doesn't change just for your plane ticket and all that. I think it's about planning once or twice a year to travel. I think.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I guess you're right about it, but I'm saying the format is small enough that you can't really make a good call from one, even if you call it like the world champs or whatever. You still can't make a good call if your 7 points point list is good or not, because people will still play whatever. Until the metagame forms, it takes probably longer.
Everybody's gonna show up with mono white next week, I reckon.
I mean, it definitely got buffed, and it was already pretty good, and it's one of the decks that I'm most scared of with my deck for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guys, thank you very much, and thank you, Thomas, for showing the new list. Exciting stuff,
I was
man.
watching the stream. Did you? Oh yeah, you posted the list, right? Cool.
I really like the new list. I really like the new changes, because the format. Will be changed a little bit, no?
I actually thought of reducing the ancestral back to 3 points to make it like a brain geyser, so we'll see a bit more, people thinking.
And bonus points for Timmy. If you play Timmy, you get an extra point to spend.
Say again?
No, nothing.
We are talking, Timmy and me, about control magic, no? With the difficult to destroy enchantments in 7 points, because Steel Artifact not always means the game, no? But Control Magic always means the game.
Yeah, Steel Artifact, you have more way to interact with the artifact. Yeah, so, I saw somebody in the chat mentioning it. Yeah, it's and I like the battle because everybody plays Jalum Tom, thing like that. It makes cool interaction, but I don't know.
Yes,
And
this guy is waiting to be changed to 3 points.
Yeah,
It's waiting.
we thought about it.
It's already going into the deck.
no, please. No, and I think red color had another substitutes to disintegrate and fireball, like pyrotechnics, not, or something like that.
Yeah, and I didn't feel right to just put the lightning bolt, or I don't know. I think the expel was just the issue. Yeah, I don't think it made sense to put pyrotechnics and stuff there.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Don't put too many cards there. People like.
No. I'm saying.
I agree.
I'm saying that red players can play pyrotechnics instead, disintegrate or fireball, no? Or
They're 2 points now, so instead of playing both of them, they will play one. I don't think
Everybody's already playing pyrotechnics. If you're playing red, you're playing pyrotechnics, right? It's a good card.
Yeah, it's very awesome. I rediscovered that card. It's so great. Yeah. But you have the other one, the Dwarven Catapult. It's not bad either. It's instant as well.
Yeah, but only on creatures.
Yeah,
and it divides it automatically.
They have like 2 or 3 creatures.
No, but I like the instant speed thing. That's great.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay, I'm going to cut the live stream. Thank you, guys.
Okay.
And congratulations, Marc.
Thomas.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Carlos. A good match. You never gave up, man. It was good spirit. And
congratulations to Marc. Congratulations.
And you might win the Spicy Award too. I think
I think I had 5 votes, and the Land Destruction deck had 7 votes, I think.
Okay.
So I was second on the Spicy Award.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much.